talk about the golden era, the 90s. I mean, the rise of hip hop. Hip hop was really starting to make an impact.
We're getting artists that are taking it to another level.
90s hip hop was filled with some of the most iconic East and West Coast founding fathers like
Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre.
Hip hop really changed in those 10 years to become not just, one location and one sound, but spread out across the entire country, and it really could be anything you wanted it to be.
DJ 91.
Hello everyone, this is DJ 91, and right now we're about to do a deep dive into 90s hip-hop. And not gonna lie, I actually wasn't going to do 90s at all in the first place, since I had doubts about whether I could do it or should I even bother doing it. But after dropping the 2000s hip-hop deep dive video, which got a lot of views real fast, I've noticed that a majority of you guys wanted a 90s version done to follow this up. And I have made it my duty to give you guys what you want. I'm also a millennial born in the year 1991. So since I was just a little kid back then, I didn't really grow up on 90s hip-hop like that, so I did miss out for the most part. I more so remember just 95 and up. Therefore, I still have quite a few childhood memories of the rappers I heard during that time. So there's definitely a bit of nostalgia there for me. And for the ones who are older than me that are watching this will definitely be more nostalgic for y'all. Years later, I have also done a lot of digging and research as I got older. And I must say, 90s hip-hop was just golden, and there hasn't been anything like it since. They call it the golden age for a reason. Since this will be a lengthy video, I'm gonna break this up into 3 chapters: the early 90s, the mid 90s, and the late 90s. Each time period, I will break it down into sections, ranking the popularity of rappers by A-list, B-list, C-list, and D-list, which will include DJs as well, instead of just rappers, for each time period. At the end of each chapter, we might go into some other mentions as well. I've also had the experience of seeing some of these rappers on stage before live in concert. I'll let you know which ones I've seen as you continue to watch. But before we go any further, if you're not subscribed yet, do me a favor, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Just 2 clicks, that's all. It won't cost you a thing. This is YouTube, not OnlyFans. It's free to subscribe and watch videos on here. And like I said before, I was a little kid in the 90s, so I'm knocking on wood that I did just enough research to pull this off. Now, for you Gen Xers and older millennials, I'm gonna take y'all down memory lane. Chapter 1, the early 90s, starting off with the A-list, and this is in no particular order. First off, we got Vanilla Ice. Before Eminem, he was the very first white solo rapper to have sold a lot of records. He had first been discovered in the late 80s and had first signed to an indie label called Ichiban Records. During this time, he had opened up for different artists such as Public Enemy, Tony Locke, Paula Abdul, the DOC, and a few others. Public Enemy had tried recruiting Vanilla Ice to sign with Def Jam, but he would end up in a different situation, signing a major label deal with SBK Records in 1990. By this time, he had already had an album out called Hooked, which was released a year prior under Ichiban Records. This would turn out to be an earlier version of his soon-to-be-released debut album. It would be remixed, re-recorded, repackaged, and renamed. The final result? To the Extreme, which would be his official debut album released in September of 1990. The album was a slow burner at first, debuting at number 151 on the Billboard 200, but would quickly skyrocket up the charts and within a couple months topped the Billboard 200 and went 7 times platinum in just 4 months after its release, making it one of the fastest selling albums in history. This momentum and commercial success was boosted by its 2 major hit singles. The first single, Ice Ice Baby, topped the Hot 100. The second single, Play That Funky Music, a cover version of Wild Cherry's original hit song from the 70s, reached number 4 on the Hot 100. In May 1991, he dropped a live album called Extremely Live, which contains audio of his live performances of his To the Extreme World Tour. It peaked at number 30 on the Billboard 200 and went gold. Next on the A-list, we got Criss Cross, a teenage hip-hop duo from Atlanta that consists of Chris Smith and Chris Kelly. They were the first ever artists to be signed to So So Def, a label that was founded by Jermaine Dupri. The duo had met Jermaine Dupri at a meet and greet which had taken place in a shopping mall. Despite having no musical background whatsoever and no intentions of trying to become rappers, Jermaine signed them based on style alone and saw potential in them. This move would turn out to be a huge reward for Jermaine Dupri. Before So So Def was officially launched, Criss Cross along with Jermaine Dupri signed a deal with Rough House Records. The duo dropped their debut album, Totally Crossed Out, in 1992, and on the album cover, you can see the duo wearing their clothes backwards, which started a popular fashion trend back then. The album first debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200, and a few weeks later would peak at number 1. Within 11 months, the album went quadruple platinum. The lead single, Jump, was a global smash hit, topping the Hot 100 and was number 1 in 5 other countries. The second single, Warm It Up, reached number 13 on the Hot 100. The third single, I Missed the Bus, reached number 63. That same year, this newfound success got the duo the opportunity to go on tour with Michael Jackson, and also a cameo appearance in one of his music videos. As a matter of fact, that's the opportunity of a lifetime if you ask me. In 1993, they would quickly follow up with their second album, The Bomb. This album wasn't as successful due to their change in style of music and their change of image, but it still did pretty well, peaking at number 13 on the Billboard 200 and eventually reaching platinum status. The lead single, Alright, featuring Supercat, reached number 19 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got LL Cool J. He had arrived on the scene in the 80s with a few platinum-selling albums under his belt. In 1990, he dropped his fourth album, Mama Said Knock You Out. The album debuted at number 42 on the Billboard 200, then a couple months later peaked at number 16. The album went platinum in 4 months and would later go double platinum in 16 months. The album had 5 singles released. The second single, The Boomin' System, reached number 48 on the Hot 100. The third single, Around the Way Girl, reached number 9 on the Hot 100, which was his highest charting single at the time. The fourth single, which shares the album title, reached number 17 on the Hot 100. In 1993, LL Cool J would start to go on a bit of a decline. That year, he dropped his fifth album, 14 Shots to the Dome. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 and had only went gold, ending his platinum streak. The lead single, How I'm Comin', reached number 57 on the Hot 100. The second single, Backseat of My Jeep, reached number 42 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got NWA, Niggas with Attitude. This legendary West Coast hip-hop collective from Compton consists of Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, MC Ren, and DJ Yella. They first bursted onto the scene in the late 80s and made a lot of noise with their highly controversial debut album, Straight Outta Compton, which had become a platinum seller. But after this, the group was now down to 4 members, as Ice Cube had left the group and went solo due to royalty disputes and shady business, which was caused by Jerry Heller, who was the manager of the group at the time. Without Ice Cube, the group would still move forward and remain popular in the early 90s. In 1990, they would drop an EP called 100 Miles and Runnin'. It peaked at number 27 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 4 months. In 1991, the group would drop their second and final album, Niggas for Life, with the title being spelled backwards for marketability purposes. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and would peak at number 1 the following week. It also went platinum in 3 months. Next up, we got Ice Cube. After leaving NWA, he would hit the ground running and immediately jumpstart his solo career. He would sign a new deal with Priority Records, and in May of 1990, he dropped his debut album, America's Most Wanted. It debuted at number 110 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 19 over a month later. It went gold in 3 months, and then went platinum in 16 months. Later that same year, he dropped an EP called Kill at Will in December. It debuted at number 94 on the Billboard 200, later peaked at number 34. It quickly went gold in 2 months, then went platinum a couple years later. In 1991, he dropped his second album, Death Certificate. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 105,000 copies and went platinum in 2 months. On this album contains the very well-known diss track, No Vaseline, which is aimed at NWA. After Ice Cube had left the group, the rest of NWA had dissed him on their last 2 projects. But Ice Cube would unleash on this one, absolutely ripping them to shreds, including the manager Jerry Heller. Even told DJ Yella to stick to producing. No Vaseline is considered to be arguably the greatest diss track of all time. The diss track was enough to actually make the group split up and finish off NWA, as Ice Cube had gone full Cat Williams on them by exposing the truth of why he left the group in the first place, and also clowns the group about how they'll never be the same NWA that they were without him. After making easy work of NWA by himself, Ice Cube would keep it moving. In 1992, he would drop his third album, The Predator. This album would be his mainstream breakthrough as a solo artist. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 193,000 copies and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Wicked, reached number 55 on the Hot 100. The second single, It Was a Good Day, reached number 15 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. This would end up being his signature song years later. The final single, Check Yourself, featuring Das EFX, reached number 20 on the Hot 100. In 1993, Ice Cube would drop his fourth album, Lethal Injection. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 215,000 copies and went platinum in 3 months. The lead single, Really Dough, reached number 54 on the Hot 100. The second single, You Know How We Do It, reached number 30 on the Hot 100. The final single, Bop Gun One Nation, featuring George Clinton, reached number 23 on the Hot 100. Outside of music, he would also jumpstart his acting career around this time period, making his first ever movie appearance in the 1991 classic crime drama film, Boys in the Hood. I also had the chance to see Ice Cube live in concert for the first time last year alongside WC. It was a dope experience to see such a legend on stage. He put on a great show. He even performed No Vaseline. I wasn't expecting him to perform that. Next up, we got Dr. Dre. After hearing Ice Cube's No Vaseline, he would also follow suit by leaving NWA, and in order to be free from his contract with Ruthless Records, Dr. Dre's then bodyguard Suge Knight would use physical force and intimidate Eazy-E into signing his rights over to the newly formed Death Row Records. The label would then have a distribution deal with Interscope Records. At this time, Dr. Dre was the flagship artist for Death Row. In December 1992, he dropped his debut album, The Chronic. It debuted at number 27 on the Billboard 200, then peaked at number 3 a month later. In 11 months, the album went triple platinum. The lead single, Nothing But a G-Thang featuring Snoop Dogg, reached number 2 on the Hot 100, making it his biggest song. The second single, Dre Day, also featuring Snoop Dogg, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The single was also a diss track aimed at Eazy-E. The third single, Let Me Ride, reached number 34 on the Hot 100. Next on the A-list, we got Snoop Dogg, who at the time went by Snoop Doggy Dogg. Thanks to fellow Long Beach native rapper Warren G, Snoop Dogg would end up working with Dr. Dre and signing with Death Row. In 1992, he appeared on the underground classic single Deep Cover alongside Dr. Dre for the movie soundtrack of the same name. In 1993, Snoop Dogg would drop his critically acclaimed debut album, Doggy Style. The album topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 806,000 copies, which at the time was the biggest first week sales ever by any rapper. The album went platinum in a week and would go quadruple platinum in 5 months. The lead single, What's My Name, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The second single, Gin and Juice, also reached number 8 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Salt and Pepper, an all-female hip-hop group from New York City that consists of Cheryl James, who was known as Salt, Sandra Denton, who was known as Pepper, and Deidre Roper, who now goes by DJ Spinderella. They had already made a name for themselves in the 80s and would continue their run in the 90s. In 1990, they dropped their third album, Black's Magic. It had peaked at number 38 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum a couple years later. The album had 6 singles released. The second single, Expression, reached number 26 on the Hot 100. The third single, Do You Want Me, reached number 21 on the Hot 100. The third single, Let's Talk About Sex, reached number 13 on the Hot 100. The fifth single, You Showed Me, reached number 47 on the Hot 100. In 1993, the group would reach their peak with the release of their fourth album, Very Necessary. It debuted at number 60 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 4 a few months later, and would ultimately go 5 times platinum, making it their best-selling album, thanks to some major hit singles. The lead single, Shoop, Shoop, Da Doop, Doop, Da Shoop, Da Doop, Da Doop, reached number 4 on the Hot 100. The second single, What a Man, featuring En Vogue, which is a modernized cover version of a Linda Lindell song from the 60s, reached number 3 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single. Next on the A-list, we got MC Hammer. After making some noise in the late 80s with his debut album, Let's Get It Started, MC Hammer would have a monster year in 1990 with the release of his second album, Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him, in February. It had debuted at number 69 of the Billboard 200, and a few months later would peak at number 1. The album sold like crazy, going 8 times platinum by the end of the year, and going diamond in 14 months. Based on the strength of its major hit singles, the lead single, You Can't Touch This, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. This would end up being a signature song years later. The second single, Have You Seen Her, a cover version of the original hit song by the Shy Lights, reached number 4 on the Hot 100. The third single, Pray, reached number 2 on the Hot 100. Around this time, MC Hammer was arguably the hottest rapper in the game. In 1991, he would follow up with his third album, Too Legit to Quit. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 93,000 copies, peaked at number 2 the following week, and would go quadruple platinum in a few months. The lead single of the same name reached number 5 on the Hot 100. The second single, Adam's Groove, reached number 7 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Arrested Development, a hip-hop collective from Atlanta. After its formation in the late 80s, the group had signed a deal with Chrysalis Records, a label that was based in the UK which would help them get their music heard around the world. In 1992, they dropped their critically acclaimed debut album, 3 Years, 5 Months, and 2 Days in the Life of. It debuted at number 149 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 7 a few months later. Over time, the album went platinum in 6 months, went double platinum in 10 months, and then went triple platinum in 14 months, thanks to its major hit singles. The lead single, Tennessee, reached number 6 on the Hot 100. The second single, People, Every Day, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The third single, Mr. Wendell, reached number 6 on the Hot 100. In 1993, the group would then win a Grammy Award for Best New Artist, making them the first ever hip-hop act to win the award. Shout out to these guys for being the first to do so. And to wrap up the A-list, we got Cypress Hill, a West Coast hip-hop group of Latino descent from California, consisted of B-Real, Sendog, and DJ Muggs. The group first signed to Rough House Records after getting their demo heard. In 1991, they dropped their critically acclaimed self-titled debut album. It had peaked at number 31 on the Billboard 200, went gold in a few months, and would eventually go platinum a couple years later. The lead single, How Could I Just Kill a Man, reached number 77 on the Hot 100. In 1993, the group dropped their second album, Black Sunday. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 261,000 copies, went platinum in a few months, and would go double platinum within a year, making it their most commercially successful album already. The lead single, Insane in the Brain, reached number 19 on the Hot 100, making it their biggest song ever. One of the other singles, I Ain't Going Out Like That, reached number 65. Now for the B-list. First up, we got Tupac. Hard to believe it's been almost 30 years since he left us. Rest in peace to him, and his legacy lives on. Tupac was born and raised on the East Coast. He grew up in New York City. Him and his family then moved to Baltimore, Maryland. Later in his adolescent years, him and his family would end up moving to Marin City, California for a change of scenery and a better life. This move to the West Coast would end up being a good move for him to get into the rap game. He was first a part of a rap group called Strictly Dope. Tupac would also get the chance to work with an upcoming West Coast hip-hop group named Digital Underground. And as for the group Strictly Dope, Tupac didn't really work well with the group and would end up being a solo artist. He had signed a deal with Interscope and dropped his debut album, Tupacalypse Now. It had debuted at number 197 on the Billboard 200, then peaked at number 64 a couple months later. Although the album wasn't a commercial success at the time, the reception to this album was quite polarizing due to its socially conscious lyrics, which touches on major issues that happen within black urban communities across the United States, which the industry wasn't quite ready for at the time. The album contains the all-time underground classic, Brenda's Got a Baby, which was chosen as one of the singles. This song was based on a true story which talks about the issues of teenage pregnancy. In 1993, Tupac would break into the mainstream with the release of his second album, Strictly for My Niggas, with the word nigga as an abbreviation in the title, which stands for Never Ignorant in Getting Goals Accomplished. It had debuted at number 24 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 7 months, making it his first ever gold-selling album at the time. The album would eventually go platinum a couple of years later. The album had 4 singles released. The second single, I Get Around, featuring Shock G and Money B, reached number 11 on the Hot 100, making it his first ever appearance on the chart as a lead artist. The third single, Keep Your Head Up, reached number 12 on the Hot 100. The final single, Papa's Song, reached number 87 on the Hot 100. Outside of music, Tupac was also an aspiring actor. After his debut album, he would quickly jumpstart his acting career by appearing in classic movies such as Juice and Poetic Justice. He would also make some TV appearances as well, in the sitcom A Different World and the comedy show In Living Color. Next up, we got Naughty by Nature, a trio from New Jersey that consists of Tretch, Vin Rock, and DJ KG, 2 MCs and 1 DJ. The group first started out under a different name in the late 80s as The New Style. They had already dropped their debut album called Independent Leaders in 1989, while signed to MCA Records, but the album didn't make any noise. The group was then mentored by Queen Latifah, who had advised the group to change their name to Naughty by Nature, which sounded better, sounded unique, and was way more marketable. With Queen Latifah's help, the group would sign a deal with Tommy Boy Records, which was the same label that Queen Latifah was signed to. In 1991, the group dropped their critically acclaimed self-titled second album. The album debuted at number 17 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 16, and went platinum in 5 months. The lead single, OPP, reached number 6 on the Hot 100, making it their biggest song ever. The second single, Everything's Gonna Be Alright, reached number 53 on the Hot 100. In 1993, the group would drop their third album, 1993. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 3 months. This album got the power of the number 3 all over it. The lead single, Hip Hop Hooray, Ho, Hey, Ho, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The second single, It's On, reached number 74 on the Hot 100. The third single, Written on Your Kitten, reached number 93 on the Hot 100. Next on the B-list, we got Onyx, who at the time was a 4-man group that consisted of Federal Star, Sticky Fingers, Big DS, and Sonny Caesar. How this group got their big break was through Jam Master Jay. The group had sent him a demo, and once he heard it, he was impressed and signed them to his label, Jam Master Jay Records. In 1993, the group released their debut album, Back the Fuck Up. The album debuted at number 31 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 17, and went platinum in 7 months, solely based on the strength of the hit single, Slam, which was chosen as the second single off the album. It had reached number 4 on the Hot 100. This song has been noted as one of the most radio-friendly hardcore hip-hop songs ever made. Next on the B-list, we got Eazy-E, the godfather of gangster rap. This year marks the 30th anniversary of his passing. Rest in peace to him as well, and his legacy lives on. Despite NWA breaking up and 2 of its members leaving his label Ruthless Records, Eazy-E would still keep it moving and drop more music. In 1992, he dropped an EP called 5150 Home for the Sick. It peaked at number 70 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. In 1993, he dropped a second EP called It's On Dr. Dre 187 UM Killer. This would be the last project he ever released before his death. The EP was also a response to Dr. Dre and his label, Death Row, after getting dissed by them. Eazy-E would take numerous shots at them on all 8 tracks of the EP. This would also end up being his most commercially successful album, as it had debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 110,000 copies and went double platinum in 4 months. The lead single, Real Motherfucking G's, featuring Gangsta Dresta and BG Knockout, reached number 42 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. Next up, we got Public Enemy, an East Coast hip-hop group from New York, known for their unapologetically loud, socially conscious, and political messages in their lyrics. The group is anchored by its 2 MCs, Chuck D and Flavor Flav, with Terminator X being the DJ at the time. Already signed to Def Jam, the group first made some noise in the late 80s with the release of their first 2 albums, which were both critically acclaimed. And their lyrical content didn't stop them from selling records either. In 1990, the group dropped their 3rd album, Fear of a Black Planet. The album debuted at number 40 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 10 a few weeks later, and went platinum in just a couple months, despite not having any of its singles being played on the radio. The Def Jam machine had other tricks up their sleeve to help promote the album. How they did this was by hiring street crews to put up posters, billboards, and stickers on public surfaces. Also, Russell Simmons, the co-founder of Def Jam, would put himself out there and meet with nightclub DJs and college radio programs to play the songs off the album. The singles off the album were Fight the Power, Welcome to the Terror Dome, 911 is a Joke, Brother's Gonna Work It Out, and Can't Do Nothing for Your Man. You need $6 for what? In 1991, the group would drop their 4th album, Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Back. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Can't Trust It, reached number 50 on the Hot 100, making it their first appearance on the chart. The other 2 singles, Shut 'Em Down and Night Train, were street singles for urban radio. Next on the B-list, we got DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, a hip-hop duo from West Philly, with the Fresh Prince being, of course, none other than the one and only Will Smith. The duo first became popular in the late 80s, having already released 3 albums before going on a bit of a decline. The Fresh Prince would get his big break in television on a new sitcom called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1990, and a new album by the duo was kind of up in the air at the time. But in 1991, the duo decided to make a comeback. In May of that year, they dropped a new single called Summer, Summer, Summertime, and this would turn out to be their biggest song ever, reaching number 4 on the Hot 100. This song would turn out to be a classic, timeless summer anthem for years to come. This was then followed by the release of their 4th album, Home Base, in July. It debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 12 the following week, and went platinum in 2 months. The follow-up single, Ring My Bell, reached number 20 on the Hot 100. In 1993, they would reunite one last time and drop their 5th and final album, Code Red. It debuted at number 72 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 64, and went gold in 3 months. The album had 5 singles released. The second single, Boom Boom Shake Shake the Room, reached number 13 on the Hot 100. The third single, I'm Looking for the One to Be With Me, one of my personal favorites by them, reached number 79 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Snow, a Canadian reggae musician from Toronto. Back in the early 90s, Snow would make a huge splash in the hip-hop market with his Jamaican-influenced style. Despite being a white boy from Canada, with the help of his Caribbean-cultured surroundings in Toronto, was able to learn and become very skilled with the use of the Jamaican patois language, along with its dialects and accents. Originally raised on classic rock music, Snow had become a fan of reggae music after hearing it being played in his neighborhood by Jamaican immigrants who had just came to the country, due to then Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's revised immigration policies, which had really inspired him. With this, he was able to develop his own style by blending reggae, dancehall, with rock, pop, and hip-hop. Snow was truly an anomaly in the music industry. In 1991, he went on a trip to New York with DJ Marvin Prince, with whom he had recorded music with. He was able to introduce him to MC Shan. The two would get to work on a demo which would help him get introduced to producer managers Steve Salem and David Eng. They would sign him to their label, Motor Jam Records. He would end up recording for his debut album, 12 Inches of Snow, but the album was rushed and had to be recorded quickly as he had to return to Canada to serve jail time for an assault charge. The album was then licensed to East West Records. While in jail, the first single, Informer, was released in August of 1992. And by the first quarter of 1993, it became a global smash hit, topping the Hot 100 and was number 1 in 10 other countries. The song was also parodied by Hollywood actor Jim Carrey as Imposter on the sketch comedy TV series In Living Color. In line with this song blowing up, 12 Inches of Snow was finally released in January 1993. It had debuted at number 84 on the Billboard 200, eventually peaked at number 5, and went platinum in 3 months after selling 1 million copies in the US. The album was an even bigger success in his home country, Canada, as it had peaked at number 3 on the Canadian Albums Chart and went triple platinum after selling 300,000 copies. The second single, Girl I've Been Hurt, was another mainstream hit, reaching number 19 on the Hot 100. Next on the B-list, we got another bad creation, ABC for short, a hip-hop group from Atlanta who were all kids ages 9 to 13. Out of all 6 of them, 4 of them were related to each other, with 2 cousins and 2 brothers. The group was first discovered by Michael Bivins, who was one of the singers from New Edition and Belle Biv DeVoe. He would sign the group to his label, Biv 10 Records. In 1991, the group would release their debut album, Coolin' at the Playground, You Know? It had debuted at number 56 on the Billboard 200, and within a few months, peaked at number 7 and went platinum. The lead single, Aisha, reached number 9 on the Hot 100. The second single, Playground, reached number 10 on the Hot 100. In 1993, their run would come to a quick end with the release of their second album, It Ain't What You Wear, It's How You Play It, which flopped hard and failed to even chart. This would end up being their last album before breaking up. Next up, we got Rekex and Effect, a hip-hop duo from Harlem, New York that consists of Akil Davidson and Markel Riley. who was the brother of R&B singer slash super producer Teddy Riley. This group had actually started off as a trio in the late 80s by the time they released their debut album while signed to Motown Records. At this time, their name was Rex in Effect, spelt with an S instead of an X. The third member went by the name of Brandon Mitchell, aka DJ B-Dogs, but in 1990 he was tragically murdered in a local shootout. After this, Akil and Markel were very uncertain about continuing as a duo, but with the encouragement of Teddy Riley and Michael Jackson, who were a couple artists that they had been working with, the group would ultimately decide to keep it rolling. They would change the spelling of the name in honor of Brandon Mitchell by replacing the S with an X. In 1992, they would switch labels and sign with MCA Records. They would then drop their second album, Harder Smooth. This album would give them a mainstream breakthrough, as it had debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and within a couple months peaked at number 9 and quickly went platinum. Solely based off the mega hit single, Rump Shaker, which reached number 2 on the Hot 100. Next on the B list, we got Heavy D, who was unfortunately no longer with us. Rest in peace to him as well. Heavy D was born in Mandeville, Jamaica. Him and his family would then leave the island and move to the States. They settled in Mount Vernon, New York, where he spent most of his childhood. While in pursuit of a music career, he had formed a group named Heavy D and the Boys. The group consisted of a DJ and 2 dancers with Heavy D as the frontman. The group would sign a deal with Uptown Records and would then blow up in the late 80s with their first 2 albums. In the early 90s, they would keep ascending. In 1991, they dropped their third album, Peaceful Journey. The album debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 7 months. The lead single, It's Good to You, reached number 32 on the Hot 100. The second single, Now That We Found Love, featuring Aaron Hall, a cover version of the original song by the OJs, reached number 11 on the Hot 100, making it their biggest song. In 1992, they quickly dropped their fourth album, Blue Funk. It had peaked at number 40 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months, even without any hit singles. Next up, we got House of Pain, a hip-hop trio from Los Angeles that consists of Everlast, Danny Boy, and DJ Lethal. Before the group's formation, Everlast was already a solo rapper with an album out under Warner Brothers, which didn't make any noise. Shortly after this, the group would then work on a demo and shopped it to different labels, which caused a bit of a bidding war. They would ultimately choose to sign with Tommy Boy Records. In 1992, they would drop their self-titled debut album. It debuted at number 25 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 14, and went platinum in 5 months. Solely based off the lead single, Jump Around, which was a major hit, reaching number 3 on the Hot 100, already becoming their biggest song ever. Next on the B list, we got Sir Mix-a-Lot. Already made some noise in the late 80s with his first 2 albums. In 1992, he would reach his peak with the release of his third album, Mac Daddy. It debuted at number 38 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 9 a few months later, and went platinum in 5 months, thanks to the number 1 hit single, Baby Got Back, making it the biggest song of his career. Next up, we got Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, a hip-hop group from Boston that consists of Marky Mark, Ashy Ace, Scotty G, DJ T, and Hector the Booty Inspector. No, seriously, why that name? Why that name, bro? I'm cracking up right now, because that name, that would not fly today. Okay, I'ma just call him Hector. Anyways, let's continue. Also, Marky Mark was actually a 20-year-old Mark Wahlberg before he became a famous Hollywood actor. I was actually today years old when I found out that this guy used to rap. I'm familiar with their song Good Vibrations, but didn't know that was him rapping on the song. You always learn something new every day, huh? The group had first signed with Interscope and then released their debut album, Music for the People, in 1991. The album debuted at number 91 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 21 a few months later, and went platinum in 6 months. The lead single, Good Vibrations, featuring Loliada Holloway, topped the Hot 100. The second single, Wild Side, reached number 10. In 1992, they would quickly drop their second and final album, You Gotta Believe, which didn't do as well. It debuted at number 67 on the Billboard 200 and failed to reach gold status. The lead single of the same name reached number 49 on the Hot 100. And to wrap up the B list, we got PM Dawn, a hip-hop R&B duo from New Jersey that consists of Prince B and Eternal. They were first signed to an indie label named Warlock Records. The label had issued out a single called Ode to a Forgetful Mind in 1989, but made no noise in the US market. However, a label in the UK called G Street Records would pick up the single and release it. The song would get a far better reception overseas. The duo would start getting attention in the UK market and were offered deals from a few major labels within the country. But they would stay loyal and sign to G Street Records. The duo would also leave home and fly to the UK to work on their debut album, which was called Of the Heart, of the Soul, and of the Cross, The Utopian Experience, which was released in 1991. The album was critically acclaimed and a global success. It peaked at number 8 on the UK albums chart and went gold after selling 100,000 copies in the country. The album was also a success in the US market, as it peaked at number 48 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months after selling 500,000 copies throughout the US. The album had 4 singles released. The second single, Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, was self-produced by the duo and was a global smash hit, topping the Hot 100. Due to its heavy sample of the Spandau Ballet 1983 hit single, True, PM Dawn was able to revive that song by giving it a hip-hop type of feel. The third single, Paper Doll, reached number 28 on the Hot 100. In 1992, the duo would drop a single called I'd Die Without You, which was included on the movie soundtrack for Boomerang. The song reached number 3 on the Hot 100. In 1993, they would drop their second album, The Bliss Album. In the US, it had peaked at number 30 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months. In the UK, it had peaked at number 9 and also went gold. The lead single, Look Through Patient Eyes, reached number 6 on the Hot 100. Now for the C-list. First up, we got A Tribe Called Quest, a 4-man group from Queens, New York. The group consists of Q-Tip, Phife Dawg, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and Jerobi White, with Ali being the DJ of the group. In 1989, the group signed a demo deal with Geffen Records. After completing a 5-song demo, the label was still reluctant to give them a recording contract and allowed them to look elsewhere. This would be a huge mistake for the label had they foreseen how successful the group would eventually become. They would end up signing a deal with Jive Records instead. In 1990, they would release their debut album, People's Instinctive Travels and the Paths of Rhythm, which wasn't an immediate commercial success, as it had only charted at number 91 on the Billboard 200. It contained a few classic underground hits such as I Left My Wallet in El Segundo, Bonito Applebum, and Can I Kick It. After the release of their debut album, Jerobi White would leave the group and the industry behind to pursue a career in culinary arts. The group was now down to 3 members, but they were able to move forward. In 1991, the group released their second album, The Low End Theory. With this album, they would slowly start to crack into the mainstream. It had debuted at number 45 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 5 months. One of the singles, Scenario, featuring leaders of the new school, reached number 57 on the Hot 100, making it their first ever appearance on the chart. Around this time, their popularity started to grow. In 1993, they dropped their third album, Midnight Marauders. It had debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200, making it their first ever top 10 charting album. It had went gold in 3 months and went platinum in 15 months, making it their first ever platinum selling album at the time. The lead single, Award Tour, reached number 47 on the Hot 100. The second single, Electric Relaxation, reached number 65 on the Hot 100. The third single, Oh My God, featuring Busta Rhymes, was a street single for Urban Radio. Next up, we got Tag Team, a hip-hop duo from Atlanta that consists of DC the Brain Supreme and Steve Rowland. They're known for their 1993 hit single, Whoop, There It Is, which reached number 2 on the Hot 100. This was included on their debut album of the same name. Thanks to its hit single, it had peaked at number 39 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 6 months. Next up, we got Wu-Tang Clan, an East Coast hip-hop collective from Staten Island, New York. The original lineup initially consisted of Method Man, RZA, GZA, Old Dirty Bastard, U-God, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killah, and Raekwon. Shortly after its formation, they independently released their debut single, Protect Your Neck. This single would help them make some noise in the underground. After shopping it to different labels, they would finally get a deal with Loud Records. The song would then be added to their critically acclaimed debut album, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, which was released in November 1993. It was a slow burner at first, debuting at number 41 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 30,000 copies, but within a matter of just 4 months, the album went gold. It would then go platinum 16 months after its release, as the group's popularity had started to take off from here. The second single, Cream, which stands for Cash Rules Everything Around Me, was able to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 60. Despite its chart performance, years later this song would receive some accolades as one of the best songs ever made in hip-hop history. One of the other singles, METHOD, Man, had also charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 69. For this song, it was just Method Man rapping the whole thing. Next on the C-list, we got EPMD, a hip-hop duo from New York that consists of Eric Sermon and PMD. They had already bursted onto the scene in the late 80s with their first 2 albums. They were originally signed to a label called Sleeping Bag Records. The label then folded due to financial losses. The duo's contract would then be acquired by Def Jam, and they would continue from there. In 1991, they dropped their third album, Business as Usual. It had debuted at number 68 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 36, and went gold in 4 months. No hit singles needed. In 1992, they would quickly drop their fourth album, Business Never Personal. It had debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, Crossover, reached number 42 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single. In line with both the title of the song and its chart performance, this song ironically talks about rappers who sell out by crossing over to R&B and pop music in order to sell more records. Next up, we got Digital Underground, a West Coast hip-hop collective from Oakland, California, anchored by Shock G and Money B. After their formation, they had signed with Tommy Boy Records and dropped their debut album, Sex Packets, in 1990. The album had debuted at number 91 on the Billboard 200, later peaked at number 24, and went platinum in 6 months. One of the singles, which was The Humpty Dance, charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 11. This would end up being their biggest song ever. In 1991, the group would drop 2 projects. In January, they would drop a 6-track EP called This Is an EP Release, which had debuted at number 94 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 29, and went gold in just 2 months. Thanks to the hit single, Same Song, which was the only single off the EP. Later that year, in October, they would drop their second album, Sons of P. It had debuted at number 52 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 44, and went gold in 6 months. The lead single, Kiss You Back, reached number 40 on the Hot 100. In 1993, the group's popularity had started to decline with the release of their third album, The Body Hat Syndrome, which had only peaked at number 79 of the Billboard 200 and failed to even reach gold status, and also no hit singles to show for it. Next up, we got Beastie Boys, Ad Rock, MCA, and Mike D. This legendary trio from New York City first blew up in the 80s after signing to Def Jam. Their debut album, License to Ill, which was released in 1986, made history as the first ever hip-hop album to reach number 1 on the Billboard 200. Since then, the group's popularity would start to regress just a little bit, which is why I have them on the C-list for this chapter. In 1992, they would release their third album, Check Your Head. By this time, the group had already switched labels, leaving Def Jam and then signing with Capitol Records. The album had debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 3 months, and went platinum in 17 months. One of the singles, So What You Want, charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 93. Next on the C-list, we got Shabba Ranks. Shabba! A dancehall artist straight out of Kingston, Jamaica, and also one of the very first dancehall artists who was able to cross over to the hip-hop R&B market, with both his reggae fusion style and his toasting, which is the Jamaican version of rapping, but in reggae dancehall form. He jump-started his career in the late 80s around the same time a lot of dancehall artists in Jamaica did, who were all getting discovered and about to start their careers. After putting out several albums, he would then sign a major label deal with Epic Records in 1989. Under the label, he would drop his critically acclaimed 5th album, As Raw As Ever, in 1991. This would be the album that would break him into the mainstream, as it had peaked at number 89 on the Billboard 200, topped the R&B hip-hop albums chart, and went gold in 8 months. One of the singles, House Call featuring Maxi Priest, charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 37, which was his mainstream breakthrough. In 1992, he would drop a follow-up album called Rough and Ready Volume 1 in July. It had peaked at number 78 on the Billboard 200. One of the singles, Mr. Loverman, reached number 40 on the Hot 100. Later that same year, Shabba dropped another album called Extra Naked in October, making it 2 albums in 1 year. It had peaked at number 64 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 4 months. One of the singles, Slow and Sexy featuring Johnny Gill, reached number 33 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. The album also features the all-time Jamaican classic tune, Ting-a-ling-a-ling, School Bell a Ring, Knife and Fork a Fight for Dumpling, Boyaka Boyaka the Shabba ranking. If you know, you know. After this success, Shabba's popularity would start to decline as a result of some controversy. In 1992, he was on a UK talk show called The Word, and after being asked about Buju Banton's Boom Bye Bye song, in response, he not only advocated for the freedom of speech of Jamaican artists, but also advocated for the quote-unquote crucifixion of gay people, which he had referenced from the Bible. This would cause immediate backlash as the public would start to cancel him. He was even dropped from a Bobby Brown concert because of this. Shabba would then apologize for his comments, but this would affect his career going forward. In 1993, he had dropped another album called Rough and Ready Volume 2, but the album flopped and failed to even chart on the Billboard 200, with no hit singles to show for it. Next up, we got Queen Latifah, who we now know as a legendary Hollywood actress, was also a fairly known female MC in the early 90s. At first, she was signed to Tommy Boy Records. In 1991, she dropped her second album, Nature of a Sister, which didn't really do well, only peaking at number 117 on the Billboard 200. She would then switch labels, leaving Tommy Boy Records and then signing with Motown Records. In 1993, she would drop her third album, Black Rain. It had peaked at number 60 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 5 months. The lead single, U-N-I-T-Y, already became her biggest song, reached number 23 on the Hot 100. The second single, Just Another Day, reached number 54. Next on the C-list, we got Shaquille O'Neal, who we now know as an NBA legend, a Hall of Famer, a 4-time champion, a top 5 center in NBA history, and the most dominant big man who's ever played the game. But also, off the court, Shaq was doing more than just blocking shots, grabbing rebounds, and breaking backboards. He was also selling records as well. How his rap career came about was through an East Coast hip-hop trio called Fugees. During his rookie season in 1992-93, Shaq was already a household name and a big-time celebrity, being a number 1 draft pick playing for the Orlando Magic. In his media press interviews, he had stated that Fugees was his favorite rap group. After catching wind of this, the group would then contact Shaquille O'Neal for a collab. Eventually, both Shaq and the group would end up performing the song live together on Arsenio Hall. After the live performance, the group's label, Jive Records, reached out to Shaq through his agent and offered him a $10 million 3-album deal, becoming the first ever NBA player to get a recording contract, which was absolutely unheard of at the time. In October of 1993, he would drop his debut album, Shaq Diesel. It debuted at number 30 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 25 the following week, and went platinum in 5 months. To this day, he's the first and only NBA player to have a platinum-selling album.
To this day!
Since then, no other NBA player has come close, not even Damian Lillard. The lead single off the album, What's Up Doc, Can We Rock, with Fushnikins, reached number 39 on the Hot 100. The second single, I Know I Got Skills, featuring Def Jef, reached number 35 on the Hot 100, which ended up being his highest charting single. The third single, I'm Outstanding, which is my personal favorite by him, reached number 47 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Das Effects, an East Coast hip-hop duo from Virginia that consists of Dre and Scoob. They were first discovered by EPMD at a local talent show. They did well enough to secure a deal with East West Records. In 1992, they dropped their critically acclaimed debut album, Dead Serious. It had debuted at number 74 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 16, and went platinum in 11 months. The lead single, They Want FX, reached number 25 on the Hot 100. In 1993, they would drop their second album, Straight Up Suicide, which didn't do as well, as it had debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200 and failed to reach gold status. The lead single, Freak It, reached number 43 on the Hot 100. Next on the C-list, we got Ghetto Boys, a southern hip-hop group from Houston, Texas that consists of Willie D, Scarface, and Bushwick Bill. In the late 80s, they would sign with Rap-A-Lot Records and would slowly start to make some noise heading into the early 90s. In 1991, they would drop their third album, We Can't Be Stopped, which would be their mainstream breakthrough. It had debuted at number 33 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 24, and went platinum in 8 months. The lead single, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, reached number 23 on the Hot 100, which ended up being their biggest song. In 1993, they would drop their fourth album, Till Death Do Us Part. It had debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. One of the singles, 6 Feet Deep, charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 40. Next up, we got Scarface. Of course, as I mentioned, who was one of the Ghetto Boys, was also able to have a successful solo career outside of the group. In 1991, he dropped his debut album, Mr. Scarface Is Back. It had peaked at number 51 on the Billboard 200 and went gold a couple years later after its release. In 1993, he would drop his second album, The World Is Yours. It had debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. One of the singles, Let Me Roll, charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 87, making it his first ever appearance on the chart as a solo artist. Next up, we got DJ Quick. Despite his name, he actually wasn't a DJ, but it was still a good name to use, and he was also very talented on a mic, as well as a dope producer. Just like NWA, he too was straight out of Compton, California. He gained an underground following by putting out mixtapes. He then received offers from different labels, one of them being Ruthless Records, which was owned by fellow Compton native Eazy-E, but he would end up signing with Profile Records instead. In 1991, he would drop his debut album, Quick Is the Name. It had debuted at number 29 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 50,000 copies and went gold in 4 months. The second single, Tonight, appeared on the Hot 100, reaching number 49. In 1992, he would quickly drop his second album, Way Too Funky. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 120,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Just Like Compton, reached number 62 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got MC Ren. After NWA split up, MC Ren would also embark on a solo career, but he would remain loyal to Eazy-E and stay with Ruthless Records. In 1992, he would drop an EP called Kiss My Black Ass. Despite the title, it sold pretty well. It debuted at number 23 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 12, and went platinum in 3 months, with no hit single needed. The only single off the album, Final Frontier, didn't really perform that well on the charts, but over time would end up being an all-time underground classic and his most well-known song years later. In 1993, he would drop his debut album, Shock of the Hour, which didn't do as well. It had debuted at number 22 on the Billboard 200 and failed to reach gold status. The lead single off the album, Same Old Shit, appeared on the Hot 100, reaching number 90, making it his first and only appearance on the chart as a solo artist. Next on the C-list, we got Too Short, a legendary MC from the Bay Area. Too Short first became popular in the late 80s after signing with Jive Records, establishing himself as one of the young and upcoming rappers heading into the early 90s. In 1990, he dropped his 6th album, Short Dogs in the House. It had debuted at number 58 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 20, and went platinum in 4 months. The lead single, The Ghetto, reached number 42 on the Hot 100, already making it his highest charting single. In 1992, he dropped his 7th album, Shorty the Pimp. It had debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 82,000 copies and quickly went gold in 2 months with no hit singles needed. In 1993, he would drop his 8th album, Get In Where You Fit In. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 3 months, and went platinum a year later. The lead single, I'm a Player, reached number 85 on the Hot 100. The second single, Money in the Ghetto, reached number 90 on the Hot 100. Next on the C list, we got Run DMC, arguably the most influential group in hip-hop history. This East Coast trio from Queens, New York consisted of Joseph Simmons, who was known as Run, Daryl McDaniels, who was known as DMC, and Jason Mizell, who was known as Jam Master Jay. 2 MCs and 1 DJ. These guys were one of the pioneers who made groundbreaking history in the 80s, helping elevate the hip-hop genre to a commercial success. Their debut album in 1984 is also the very first hip-hop album to be certified gold. Also, this group broke barriers by making a super smash hit record with Aerosmith, making it the first ever significant crossover collab in hip-hop. However, this popularity didn't last too long. In the early 90s, they would start to have a decline. In 1990, they would drop their 5th album, Back from Hell, which was a commercial flop compared to their previous albums, as it had only peaked at number 81 on the Billboard 200 and failed to even reach gold status, with no hit singles. In 1993, the group was able to have a resurgence with the release of their 6th album, Down with the King. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The lead single of the same name reached number 21 on the Hot 100, becoming their highest charting single since 1986. 3 years ago, I had the chance of seeing one of the members, Derek McDaniels, aka DMC, live in concert. Even though I wasn't born when Run DMC came out, it was quite the experience seeing such a legend perform live on stage. He put on a good show. Next up, we got 2 Live Crew, a 4-man group from Miami, Florida that consisted of Mr. Mix, Fresh Kid Ice, Brother Marquise, and Uncle Luke. Known for their sexually explicit lyrical content, they first made some noise in the 80s with their first 3 albums. In 1990, they would drop their 4th album, Banned in the USA. It debuted at number 48 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 21, and went gold in 2 months. The lead single of the same name reached number 20 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single. In 1991, they would quickly drop their 5th album, Sports Weekend, As Nasty as They Wanna Be Part 2, which was a sequel to their 3rd album. It had debuted at number 25 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 22, and went gold in 7 months. The lead single, Pop That Coochie, reached number 58 on the Hot 100. As of right now, Mr. Mix is the lone member of the group who still tours. I had the chance of seeing him live a few years ago while opening up for a music festival. And look at that dancer shaking that ass. Damn, she got a fat ass. Next on the C list, we got Spice One. He was born in Texas and was later raised in Hayward, California, which is in the Bay Area. He was first discovered in the 80s by fellow Bay Area rapper Too Short and joined his rap group, The Dangerous Crew. By the early 90s, Spice One would start to work his way up as a solo artist when he signed to an indie label called Triad Records. In 1991, he had dropped an EP called Let It Be Known, which made some noise in the underground. After this, he would sign a major label deal with Jive Records. In 1992, he would drop his self-titled debut album. It had peaked at number 82 on the Billboard 200, and 18 months after its release, the album went gold. Slowly but surely, his popularity was increasing. In 1993, he would drop his 2nd album, 187 He Wrote. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in just 2 months, making it his highest charting album. No hit single needed. Next on the C list, we got Candyman. After having already worked with artists such as Dr. Dre and Tony Locke, Candyman would sign with Epic Records in 1989. He would then drop his debut album, Ain't No Shame in My Game, in 1990. It had peaked at number 40 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The album had 3 singles released. The first single, Knockin' Boots, reached number 9 on the Hot 100, which is his most well-known song. The second single, Melt in Your Mouth, reached number 69 on the Hot 100. The third single, Nightgown, reached number 91 on the Hot 100. Unfortunately, this success was short-lived as Candyman's next 2 albums, Playtime's Over in 1991 and I Thought You Knew in 1993, both flopped and failed to even chart. By this time, he was no longer with Epic Records as the hits had already dried up for him. Next up, we got Domino, another West Coast rapper who was fairly popular in the early 90s. After signing a deal with Def Jam, he would drop his self-titled debut album in 1993. It had peaked at number 39 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months, thanks to its hit singles. The lead single, Ghetto Jam, reached number 7 on the Hot 100, already becoming his biggest song. The second single, Sweet Potato Pie, reached number 27 on the Hot 100. And to wrap up the C-list, we got Diggable Planets, a hip-hop trio from Philly that consists of Butterfly, Doodlebug, and Ladybug Mecca. After their formation, they were able to secure a deal with Pendulum Records. They would then relocate to Brooklyn, New York upon signing the deal. In 1993, they dropped their critically acclaimed debut album, Reaching a New Reputation of Time and Space. It had debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in less than 2 months. The lead single, Rebirth of Slick, Cool Like That, reached number 15 on the Hot 100. And now for the D-list. When I get to this part for each chapter, in order to avoid making this video longer than it needs to be, I'm gonna shorten this segment by just reading the names. For the early 90s D-list, we got Above the Law, Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, Buju Banton, Ice-T, Jazzo, Yo-Yo, Kid Frost, Kuiper, K7, MC Light, Third Base, Kid and Play, Slick Rick, Chub Rock, Gangstar, Souls of Mischief, Positive K, Redman, Foo Schnickens, The Far Side, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Lords of the Underground, Eric Sermon, KRS-One, Fat Joe, MC Shan, Moni Love, Brand Nubian, Father MC, Jungle Brothers, Nice and Smooth, Tony Locke, De La Soul, 95 South, Marley Marl, Young MC, Black Sheep, and Biz Markie. Chapter 2, the mid-90s, starting off with the A-list. First up, we got Tupac. In the mid-90s, he would start to reach the prime of his career. Before the release of his third album, he was briefly a part of a group called Thug Life, with Big Sky, Big Stretch, and his older brother Mopreem Shakur. In September 1994, they had dropped their first and only album, Thug Life Volume 1, which had charted at number 42 on the Billboard 200 and went gold 60 months after its release. However, during this time, Tupac was also going through a lot of trials and tribulations. A couple months after the Thug Life album, he was shot 5 times in an armed robbery attempt at Quad Recording Studios in New York. Luckily, he had survived the shooting and was able to recover, but during this time, he was also in and out of court for a SA trial. He was unable to post the $3 million bond to keep himself free during the case. He ended up losing the case and was convicted of SA. In February 1995, he had received a sentence of 18 months to 4.5 years in prison. By this time, he had already finished working on his third album, Me Against the World, which was released a month after his prison sentence. The album was critically acclaimed and a commercial success. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 240,000 copies, making it his first #1 album, also making Tupac the first ever artist in the history of music to have a #1 album while in prison. It remained at #1 for 3 more weeks. The album went platinum in 2 months and went double platinum by the end of the year. The lead single, Dear Mama, reached #9 on the Hot 100, making it his first ever top 10 charting hit. The second single, So Many Tears, reached number 44 on the Hot 100. The third single, Temptations, reached number 68 on the Hot 100. After serving 8 months of his prison sentence, Tupac would become a free man after Suge Knight came to his rescue, posting a $1.4 million bond during an appeal for his conviction. He would immediately sign to Death Row and would get back into the studio to put out more music. He would waste no time and he would get busy. In February 1996, he would quickly drop his 4th album, All Eyes on Me, which was also a double album, becoming the first ever double album for a solo hip-hop artist. Because of this, the album sales were doubled. It was also recorded in just 2 weeks. It had received widespread critical acclaim and was a major commercial success, topping the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 566,000 copies and went 7 times platinum by the end of the year, becoming his best-selling album. The lead single, California Love, featuring Dr. Dre, topped the Hot 100, becoming his first #1 hit. As of today, this would end up being his signature song. The follow-up single, How Do You Want It, featuring KC and JoJo, also did the same, as it had been released as a double A-sided single with California Love. At this point, Tupac was just on top of the world and became the biggest rapper in the game. In the summer of '96, Tupac would drop a diss track called Hit 'Em Up in retaliation for the '94 shooting, which added to the already East Coast-West Coast beef that was happening. He had went at Bad Boy Records, Puff Daddy, and Biggie Smalls, whom he had accused of setting him up after Biggie dropped a song called Who Shot Ya? On Hit 'Em Up, Tupac would not hold back, and this would end up becoming one of the greatest diss tracks of all time. Tupac would then get back to work, this time for his upcoming 5th album, which was going to be called Illuminati: The 7-Day Theory, and was also planning to release it under a pseudonym as Makaveli the Don. He had finished recording the album in 7 days during the first week of August. However, a month later, tragedy would strike. On the night of September 7, 1996, Tupac was shot in a drive-by shooting in Nevada after leaving a Mike Tyson boxing match. He was in the passenger seat of the car next to Suge Knight. Tupac was shot 4 times in his arm, thigh, and chest, with one of the bullets hitting his right lung. This had occurred after Tupac and his crew had jumped a rival gang member for robbing an associate from his label. Immediately after the shooting, Tupac was rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and unfortunately, he would not make it. After being on life support for 6 days, he would pass away on September 13, 1996 after succumbing to the gunshot wounds. He was only 25 years old. There was no funeral held for the late rapper as his body was cremated the following day. A couple months later, his 5th album was posthumously released with some subtle changes to the title. It would be ultimately called The Don Illuminati: The 7-Day Theory, with the pseudonym being shortened to Makaveli for the artist name. And as for the album artwork, there is a caption on the cover which reads, "In no way is this portrait an expression of disrespect for Jesus Christ," in order to prevent backlash from any religious communities. Tupac also had different producers for this album. Instead of creating more G-Funk bangers, he went in a more dark and conscious direction with the music. It had topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 664,000 copies and went triple platinum in 5 months despite not having any pop records. The first single off the album was Toss It Up, featuring Aaron Hall, Danny Boy, Casey, and JoJo. The music video for the song was filmed just a day before the shooting, which ended up being the last music video he ever did before his death. Although the song didn't chart on the Hot 100, it did well on urban radio. It also did pretty well overseas, charting in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. The second single, To Live and Die in LA, featuring Val Young, also did well overseas in those same countries. The music video for the song had been filmed in July, which was a couple months before his death. The third single, Hail Mary featuring Outlaws, did well on US urban radio and was able to chart in Europe. The music video was done after Tupac's death, which depicts him coming out of his grave as an unseen ghost and then haunting the gang members who killed him. Outside of this, leading up to his untimely death, Tupac had plans of leaving death row and starting his own label called Makaveli Records. Shortly after dropping All Eyes on Me, he had been working on a collab project called One Nation, which was intended to unite East Coast and West Coast rappers together. The project was also intended to be an album series, but it would end up being unfinished and unreleased. As for his movie roles during this time period, in 1994 he appeared in Above the Rim, and in 1996 he was casted in 3 more movies, which was Bullet, Gridlocked, and Gang Related, at which all 3 of those movies were released after his death. Once again, rest in peace, Tupac.
But I'm a soldier, I always survive. I constantly come back. You know what I mean? Only thing that can kill me is death. That's the only thing that'll ever stop me is death. And even then, my music will live forever.
Next on the A-list, we got Bone Thugs and Harmony, one of the most legendary groups in hip-hop history from Cleveland, Ohio, known for their unique, fast, and melodic flow. At the time, they had really brought something different to the game. The original lineup was Crazy Bone, Lazy Bone, Busy Bone, and Wishbone. They had first started off under a different name as Bone Enterprise. They had linked up with a local record store owner by the name of Kermit Henderson, and they would sign him to his indie label, which was called Stony Brook Recordings. Under the label, they would drop their debut album, Faces of Death, which made some noise in the underground. This would help them get discovered by Eazy-E, and they would sign with his label, Ruthless Records. This move would give them a huge boost. In 1994, they would drop an 8-track EP called Creepin' on a Come Up. This EP would help break the group into the mainstream. It debuted at number 158 on the Billboard 200, and within 3 months, peaked at number 12 and went platinum. It would then go double platinum in 6 months, triple platinum in 9 months, and quadruple platinum in 18 months. The title really speaks for itself. The lead single, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, featuring Shatasha Williams, reached number 22 on the Hot 100, making it their first appearance on the chart. The second single, For the Love of Money, featuring Eazy-E, reached number 41 on the Hot 100. In 1995, the group would then drop their second album, E1999 Eternal. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 307,000 copies, making it their first ever #1 album. Within 12 months, the album went quadruple platinum. The lead single, First of the Month, reached number 14 on the Hot 100. The second single, East 1999, reached number 62 on the Hot 100. The third single, The Crossroads, topped the Hot 100, making it their first ever #1 hit. This song was also a dedication to the late Eazy-E, who had passed away before the album came out. Next up, we got Snoop Dogg. In 1994, he appeared in an 18-minute short film called Murder Was the Case, which had also came along with a movie soundtrack with him on the front cover. In 1995, Snoop also had an infamously memorable moment on stage at the Source Awards, and it went something like this.
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us. Well, let it be known then. We know y'all East Coast. We know we at East Coast and F.
This was at the height of the East Coast-West Coast beef that was happening back then. Also during this time, Snoop Dogg was also in some legal trouble. Both him and his bodyguard were on trial for murder charges. But in February 1996, they would win the case and be acquitted of the charges, walking out of court a free man. After this, Snoop Dogg would get back to work for album number 2. In November 1996, he would drop his second album, The Dogfather. This time without production by Dr. Dre. He would choose to go in a different direction with the music, as he was leaning away from hardcore gangster rap and was leaning towards a more groovy, laid-back type of vibe. It had received mixed reviews by the critics, but still it was a commercial success, as it topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 479,000 copies and went double platinum in 3 months without any hit singles. This would also end up being his last album with Death Row. Stay tuned for the next chapter to see which label he signs to next. Next up, we got the Notorious B.I.G. Baby! Rest in peace to him as well. A legendary MC from New York City who was one of the best to ever do it. He was also known as Biggie Smalls, which was one of his nicknames. He first put himself out there by live performing in the streets. In 1991, he had put out a demo tape. This tape was then discovered by Mr. C, who then sent it to an editor of the Source magazine. which was then featured in the unsigned hype section. Sean Puffy Combs, who was working at Uptown Records at the time, caught wind of this and would arrange to meet up with Biggie. After this, Biggie would appear on the remix of Mary J. Blige's 1992 hit single, Real Love. Biggie would then sign to Uptown Records. In 1993, his debut single, Party and Bullshit, was released. Although the song never charted, it appeared on the soundtrack for a movie called Who's the Man? However, Puff would then get fired from Uptown Records and lose access to Biggie's songs that he had recorded while with the label. Puff would then bounce back and start up his own label called Bad Boy Records. Biggie would sign to the label, making him the first ever artist to sign with Bad Boy. In 1994, Biggie would drop his critically acclaimed debut album, Ready to Die. It wasn't a commercial success at first, as it had debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of only 57,000 copies. However, the sales had increased after this. It went gold in 2 months, went platinum in 6 months, and went double platinum in 13 months, thanks to its hit singles. The lead single, Juicy, would be his first ever hit record, reaching number 27 on the Hot 100. The second single, I Love It When You Call Me Big Papa, reached number 6 on the Hot 100. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. The third single was the remix version of One More Chance, which had reached number 2 on the Hot 100. Outside of this, Biggie had also formed a rap group called Junior Mafia, which was a group of young and upcoming rappers that he was mentoring at the time. Next up, we got LL Cool J. After having his platinum streak ended in '93 with his 5th album, LL Cool J would bounce back with the release of his 6th album, Mr. Smith. On this album, he would get back to the hits. It had debuted at number 23 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 20, went platinum in 2 months, and went double platinum in 10 months. The lead single, Hey Lover, featuring Boyz II Men, reached number 3 on the Hot 100. The second single, Doin' It, featuring LaShawn, reached number 9 on the Hot 100. The third single, Loungin', featuring Total, reached number 3 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Beastie Boys. In 1994, they would drop their 4th album, Ill Communication. The album topped the Billboard 200, went platinum in a couple months, and went double platinum 2 years after its release, with no hit singles. In 1995, they would also drop an EP called Root Down, which had charted at number 50 on the Billboard 200. This would be the beginning of their resurgence. Next on the A-list, we got Nas. During the early 90s is when he would be discovered. In 1991, he had collaborated with an underground East Coast hip-hop group called Main Source. After this, he would meet up with MC Search in 1992, who became his manager. He would also help Nas get signed to Columbia Records. Upon signing to the label, he had first started off as Nasty Nas. That same year in 1992, he had dropped his debut single called Halftime, which appeared on a soundtrack for a movie called Zebrahead. This song would also appear on his upcoming debut album called Illmatic, which ended up being released in 1994. Although the album has been critically acclaimed as one of the best hip-hop albums of all time, it wasn't an immediate commercial success during this time period, as it had only debuted at number 12 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 59,000 copies and went gold a couple years after its release. One of the singles, It Ain't Hard to Tell, had charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 91. In 1996, Nas would start ascending with the release of his second album, It Was Written. Due to advice from his label to help sell more records, Nas would lean towards a more commercial type of sound to create some hits, and this would end up working out for him, as it topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 270,000 copies and went double platinum in 3 months, which was a huge jump from the sales of his previous album. The lead single, If I Ruled the World, Imagine That, featuring Lauryn Hill, reached number 53 on the Hot 100. The second single, Street Dreams, reached number 22 on the Hot 100. Luckily, I had the chance to see Nas live in concert before, not just once, but twice. The first time I saw him was back in 2019 during his tour with Mary J. Blige. The second time I saw him was last summer at a local music festival. Next up, we got the Fugees, a legendary East Coast hip-hop trio from New Jersey that consists of Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, and Pras. After their formation in the early 90s, they would record demo tapes and put themselves out there by doing local performing gigs. The group was then able to secure a deal with Rough House Records. In 1994, they had dropped their debut album, Blunted on Reality, which had flopped and failed to chart on the Billboard 200. One of the singles was the remix version of Nappy Heads, which had charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 49. Instead of giving up on the group, the label had decided to bet on them just one more time and give them another chance. The head of the label, Chris Schwartz, who was the founder and CEO of Rough House Records, had given the group a $100K advance and complete creative control of their next album. This gamble would end up turning out to be a big reward, as the Fugees would not let him down. In January 1996, they had dropped their critically acclaimed second album, The Score. It would end up selling like crazy, as it had topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 206,000 copies and went 5 times platinum by the end of the year. This album also had some unforgettable hits. The lead single, Fuji La, reached number 29 on the Hot 100. The second single, Killing Me Softly, which was a cover version of a Lori Lieberman song from the 70s, was a global smash hit. It didn't chart on the Hot 100 since it wasn't released as a commercial single in the US due to Billboard's charting rules at the time. Instead, it had charted on the Hot 100 airplay chart, reaching number 2. The song had also reached number 1 in more than 20 other countries. It was absolutely out of here. The third single, Ready or Not, reached number 69 on the Hot 100 airplay chart, which was also a non-commercial release. The fourth and final single was a cover version of Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry, which had reached number 38 on the Hot 100 airplay chart. The Fugees have become the biggest hip-hop group in the world, but despite this, they would never release another album together going forward. After this, the group would then split up and start their solo careers. Stay tuned for the next chapter to see how that goes. Next on the A-list, we got Warren G, another West Coast rapper from Long Beach, California. You'd figure someone like this would end up signing to Death Row, right? Right? Wrong. Instead, he would end up signing with Def Jam, which was odd considering the fact that Def Jam is headquartered in New York. But Def Jam actually wanted Warren G way more than Death Row wanted him. Therefore, it makes sense to go with the label who actually wants you and that will give you that push to succeed. How this came about was that he had first met with John Singleton, who was directing a movie called Poetic Justice, and had asked Warren G to produce a song for the movie soundtrack, which was called Indo Smoke. The song was performed by a West Coast rapper named Mr. Grimm. Following this, Warren G would then sign with the label. In 1994, he had dropped his debut album, Regulate G-Funk Era. The whole album was entirely produced by Warren G. It also received praise by the critics and was instantly a commercial success. It had debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 176,000 copies, went double platinum in 2 months, and went triple platinum over a year later. The lead single, Regulate, featuring Nate Dogg, was a major hit, reaching number 2 on the Hot 100, already becoming his biggest song. This song was also the first single off the movie soundtrack for Above the Rim. The second single, This DJ, reached number 9 on the Hot 100. The third and final single, Do You See, reached number 42 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Coolio. Just want to say, it's been 3 years since he's passed away. Rest in peace to him as well. Also, a fun fact about Coolio. He was a late bloomer, as his rap career actually didn't take off until his 30s. He was pretty much one of the first, if not the first rapper to defy ageism in hip-hop. Back then, being a rapper in your 30s was looked down upon, but Coolio was able to break that mold and show that age ain't nothing but a number. He had first started off in a group called WC and the Mad Circle. He had stuck around for the group's first album before leaving to embark on a solo career. In 1994, he would secure a deal with Tommy Boy Records. That same year, he would drop his debut album, It Takes a Thief, at the age of 31. It debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 3 months, thanks to the hit single, Fantastic Voyage, which reached number 3 on the Hot 100. The following year, he would quickly drop his second album, Gangsta's Paradise. It had debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 9 a few months later, and went double platinum in 5 months, making it his best-selling album. The lead single of the same name, featuring LV, was a major hit, as it had topped the Hot 100. The song was also number 1 in 18 other countries. This would turn out to be his signature song years later. Weird Al Yankovic had also done a parody of the song called Amish Paradise. The second single, Too Hot, which was a cover version of a Kool and the Gang song from the 80s, reached number 24 on the Hot 100. The third single, 1, 2, 3, 4, Something New, reached number 5 on the Hot 100. Also during this time period, Coolio did the theme song for Kenan and Kel, which was a well-known sitcom that had premiered in 1996. And to wrap up the A-list, we got the Dog Pound, a West Coast hip-hop duo that consists of Corrupt and Daz Dillinger. Before they came together, they were first solo artists who were working closely with Death Row Records in the early 90s. They had appeared on Dr. Dre's debut album, The Chronic, making appearances on a few tracks here and there. After picking up on the chemistry that they both had on one single track, Dr. Dre suggested that they become a duo, and this would turn out to be a great idea. In 1995, they had dropped their debut album, Dog Food. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 278,000 copies, and went double platinum in 3 months. One of the singles, Let's Play House featuring Michelet, appeared on the Hot 100, reaching number 45. Now for the B-list. First up, we got A Tribe Called Quest. During this time period is when they would reach their peak. In 1996, they would drop their fourth album, Beats, Rhymes, and Life. It topped the Billboard 200, making it their first ever number 1 album. It would then go gold in 2 months and go platinum a couple years after its release. No hit singles needed. The lead single, once again, did well on US urban radio and was able to chart in Europe. The second single, Stressed Out, featuring Faith Evans, also had the same results. The single version had the Phife Dawg verse on it, which was different from the album version, which didn't have him on it. Next up, we got Foxy Brown, a legendary East Coast female MC from Brooklyn, New York. She got discovered early as a teenager, due to her undeniable talent and the ability to just rap her ass off. She had first gotten some exposure at a local talent show, which she had won. A well-known production group called Trackmasters was in attendance. They would get in touch with her and land her the opportunity to collab with LL Cool J. She would appear on his double platinum selling album, Mr. Smith. The track she appeared on was the remix of I Shot Ya. This would help get her some attention. She would then get the opportunity to work with R&B singer Case and rapper Jay-Z, who were also both up-and-coming artists at the time. There would be a bidding war for the young Foxy Brown, but she would ultimately sign with Def Jam. In 1996, she would drop her debut album, Il Nana, at the age of 18. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 120,000 copies and went platinum in 3 months. The lead single, Get Me Home featuring Blackstreet, was a non-commercial single. It had reached number 42 on the Hot 100 airplay chart. The second single, I'll Be, featuring Jay-Z, was an even bigger hit, reaching number 7 on the Hot 100, making it her biggest song. Next on the B list, we got Dr. Dre. Reason why I have him on the B list for this chapter was that he didn't drop another studio album during this time period, but he was still in the mix. In 1995, he dropped a hit single called Keep Their Heads Ringing, which reached number 10 on the Hot 100. The song appeared on the Friday movie soundtrack. In 1996, he was featured on a couple of chart-topping hits, Tupac's California Love and Blackstreet's No Diggity. Also during this year, Dr. Dre would transition to becoming a label owner. He would end up leaving Death Row Records due to Suge Knight's reckless behavior and started up his own label, Aftermath Entertainment, becoming his own boss. In November 1996, he dropped a compilation album called Dr. Dre Presents The Aftermath on behalf of his label. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 10 months. Next up, we got Method Man. After Wu-Tang's debut album, the group would then decide to split up for a bit and drop solo albums, which was a strategy used to help build up the Wu-Tang brand over the next few years before their second album. And Method Man would quickly establish himself as the most popular member of the group. In 1994, he dropped his critically acclaimed debut album, Tikal. The album was entirely produced by RZA. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 8 months. The lead single, Bring the Pain, reached number 45 on the Hot 100. The third single, I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need to Get By, featuring Mary J. Blige, reached number 3 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. Next up, we got Busta Rhymes. He was first a part of an underground hip-hop group called Leaders of the New School. They had made a bit of noise in the early 90s and dropped 2 albums, but Busta Rhymes was clearly outshining the rest of the group, which caused a bit of jealousy. In 1994, the group would then split up. Busta Rhymes would go on to find his way as a solo artist, picking up features here and there with other rap artists. Already signed to Elektra Records, he would then start up Flip Mode Entertainment as an imprint label under Elektra. In 1996, he would drop his debut solo album, The Coming. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The album would eventually reach platinum status 3 years after its release, as his popularity would start to grow from here. The lead single, Woo-Ha! Got You All in Check, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The second single, It's a Party, featuring Janae, reached number 52 on the Hot 100. Next on the B list, we got Lil Kim, another East Coast female rapper from New York who was discovered at a very young age. At the age of 17, she was a part of Junior Mafia, a young rap group that was founded and mentored by Biggie Smalls. The group had first became popular in 1995. The following year in 1996, Lil Kim would drop her critically acclaimed solo debut album, Hardcore, in November. It debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 78,000 copies and went platinum in 7 months. The lead single, No Time, featuring Puff Daddy, reached number 18 on the Hot 100. The second single, Crush on You, featuring Lil Cease, was a non-commercial release and reached number 52 on the Hot 100 airplay chart. The third single was a remix version of Not Tonight, featuring Da Brat, Angie Martinez, Missy Elliott, and Left Eye, which was released the following year and included on a 1997 re-release version of the album. The song had reached number 6 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Outkast, arguably the greatest hip-hop duo of all time. Big Boy and Andre 3000, coming from the South, Atlanta, Georgia to be exact. They first bursted onto the scene in the mid-90s. In 1993, they had gotten signed to LaFace Records and received a $15,000 advance prior to recording their debut album. In April 1994, they would drop their debut album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. Yes, I know, that's a very long title. It had debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum a year later. The lead single, Players Ball, reached number 37 on the Hot 100. The second single, which shares the album title, reached number 74 on the Hot 100. In 1996, Outkast would start to ascend with the release of their second album, ATLiens. By this time, the duo was given creative control by their label and were able to level up their sound. It had debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 350,000 copies and went platinum in 3 months. The lead single, Elevators, Me and You, reached number 12 on the Hot 100. The second single, which shares the album title, reached number 35 on the Hot 100. The third single, Jazzy Belle, reached number 52 on the Hot 100. At this point, the duo was on their way up. Next up, we got Heavy D. In 1994, he dropped his 5th album, Nothing But Love. It had debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum a couple of years after its release. This would be the last Heavy D and the Boys album, as the group would break up with Heavy D going solo after this. The lead single, Got Me Waiting, reached number 20 on the Hot 100. The second single, which shares the album title, reached number 40 on the Hot 100. The third single, Black Coffee, reached number 57 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Da Brat, a female MC from Chicago who was just starting to emerge during this time period. She was first discovered in the early 90s after winning a local rap contest, which was sponsored by Yo MTV Raps. She would then meet Criss Cross and was later introduced to Jermaine Dupri, who would then sign her to his newly formed So So Def label. In 1994, she would drop her debut album, Functified, in June. It debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 11 a week later, went gold in 4 months, and went platinum in 7 months, making the Brat the first ever solo female rapper to have a platinum-selling album. The lead single, Functified, reached number 6 on the Hot 100, already becoming her biggest song. The second single, For All Y'all, reached number 37 on the Hot 100. The third single, Give It To You, reached number 26 on the Hot 100. In 1996, the Brat would drop her second album, Anatha Tantrum. It debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Sitting on Top of the World, reached number 30 on the Hot 100. The second single, Ghetto Love, featuring T-Boz, reached number 16 on the Hot 100. Next on the B-list, we got Cypress Hill. In 1995, they had dropped their third album, Cypress Hill 3, Temples of Boom. It had debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Throw Your Set in the Air, reached number 45 on the Hot 100. The third single, Boom Biddy Bye Bye, reached number 87 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got West Side Connection, a rap supergroup that consists of Ice Cube, WC, and Mac 10. In 1996, they had put out their debut album, Bow Down. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 145,000 copies and went platinum in 4 months. The lead single of the same name reached number 21 on the Hot 100. The second single, Gangsters Make the World Go Round, reached number 40 on the Hot 100. And to wrap up the B-list, we got Scarface. In 1994, he had dropped his third album, The Diary. It had debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, I Seen a Man Die, reached number 37 on the Hot 100. The second single, Hand of the Dead Body, featuring Ice Cube and Devin the Dude, reached number 74 on the Hot 100. Now for the C-list. First up, we got Naughty by Nature. In 1995, they dropped their fourth album, Poverty's Paradise. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 4 months. The lead single, Craziest, reached number 51 on the Hot 100. The second single, Feel Me Flow, reached number 17 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Redman. After the success of his debut album in 1992, Redman would continue to ascend. In 1994, he would drop his second album, There Is a Dark Side. It debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 83,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The second single, Can't Wait, reached number 94 on the Hot 100, making it his first appearance on the chart. In 1995, both him and Method Man would link up and form a duo called Method Man and Redman. Prior to this, both artists were already signed to Def Jam and were already good friends before their careers took off. In 1995, the duo dropped their debut single, How High. This song turned out to be a big hit as it reached number 13 on the Hot 100. The song appeared on the soundtrack for a documentary film called The Show. This would be the beginning of more future collaborations between the two. In 1996, Redman would continue his solo career with the release of his third album, Muddy Waters. It debuted at number 12 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 81,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, It's Like That, featuring K Solo, reached number 95 on the Hot 100. The second single, Whatever Man, featuring Eric Sermon, reached number 42 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Raekwon. In 1995, he would drop his critically acclaimed solo debut album, Only Built for Cuban Links. This album was also entirely produced by RZA. As you can see, fellow Wu-Tang member Ghostface Killah appears on the front cover beside him, due to his numerous appearances as a featured guest on the album, appearing on 13 of the 17 tracks. The album debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 133,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The second single, Criminology, featuring Ghostface Killah, reached number 43 on the Hot 100. The third single, Ice Cream, featuring Method Man, Ghostface Killah, and Capadonna, reached number 37 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. Next up, we got Ghostface Killah. In 1996, he would drop his solo debut album, Iron Man. The album was also critically acclaimed and a commercial success. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 156,000 copies and went gold in 3 months, with no hit singles. The lead single, All That I Got Is You, featuring Mary J. Blige, did well on US urban radio, but did even better in the UK, reaching number 11 on the UK singles chart. Next up, we got GZA. In 1995, he would drop his solo debut album, Liquid Swords, and again, another critically acclaimed solo debut album by one of Wu-Tang's members, with RZA handling the production of the entire album. It debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The second single, which shares the album title, reached number 48 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. The third single, Cold World, featuring Expect a Deck, reached number 97 on the Hot 100. The fourth single, Shadowboxin', featuring Method Man, reached number 67 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Old Dirty Bastard, ODB for short. Another legend from this era who is no longer with us. Just want to say, rest in peace to him as well. In 1995, he would also drop his solo debut album, Return to the 36 Chambers, The Dirty Version. This too would also end up being another classic by one of the Wu-Tang members. It had debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 81,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Brooklyn Zoo, reached number 54 on the Hot 100. The second single, Shimmy Shimmy Ya, Shimmy Yeah, Shimmy Yeah, reached number 62 on the Hot 100. Outside of this, he appeared on the remix of Mariah Carey's #1 hit single, Fantasy. Next up, we got Too Short. In 1995, he dropped his 9th album, Cocktails. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 101,000 copies, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum a couple years after its release. The lead single, Cocktails, reached number 69 on the Hot 100. In 1996, he would quickly drop his 10th album, Getting It, album number 10. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 100,000 copies and went platinum in 4 months. The only single off the album, Getting It, featuring Parliament Funkadelic, reached number 68 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Craig Mack, another legend from this era who is unfortunately no longer with us. Rest in peace to him as well. He was first discovered in the late 80s as a teenager. At the time, he went by MC Easy. He was first signed to Fresh Records when he had dropped his debut underground single. He would then link up with EPMD and go on tour with them until they had broken up. During this time, Craig Mack's career was at a standstill, but luckily he would have the opportunity to meet Sean Puffy Combs at a club where he had freestyled for him. This would help him land a new record deal with Bad Boy. In 1994, he would drop his debut album, Project Funk the World. It had debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 5 months. The lead single, Here Comes the Brand New Flavor in Your Air, the brand new flavor in your air, reached number 9 on the Hot 100, already becoming his biggest song ever. The song also came with a popular remix which featured Biggie Smalls, Rampage, LL Cool J, and Busta Rhymes. The second single, Get Down, reached number 38 on the Hot 100. Next on the C-list, we got MC Hammer. During this time period, he would start to decline. In 1994, he dropped his 5th album, The Funky Headhunter. It debuted at number 12 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum in 6 months. The lead single, Pumps in a Bump, reached number 26 on the Hot 100. The second single, It's All Good, reached number 46 on the Hot 100. In 1996, he would then drop his 6th album, Inside Out. With this album, he would go in a different direction with the music, as he would lean towards gospel and Christian hip-hop, mixed with G-Funk. But the album was a commercial failure, as it only peaked at number 119 on the Billboard 200. Next up, we got Jay-Z. Reason why I have him on the C-list for this chapter is because he was a brand new artist that was just starting to take off during this time period. Jay-Z's rap career started in the late 80s, collaborating with fellow Brooklyn rapper Jaz-O. He would then get wider underground exposure in 1994 as a featured artist on Big Daddy Kane's Show and Prove. However, up until this point, Jay-Z wasn't getting any offers from major labels. To get his music out there, he sold CDs out of his car, while also drug dealing to get by. Around this time, he had first gotten a deal with a label called Payday Records. While signed to the label, he would drop his debut single called In My Lifetime, along with a music video in 1995. However, Jay-Z would then leave the label due to royalty issues and their lack of marketing. He would then start up his own label called Rockefeller Records, along with Damon Dash and Kareem Burke. Later in 1995, they were able to strike a distribution deal with Priority Records. In February 1996, he dropped the original version of Dead Presidents, which ended up being a non-album single that didn't chart. The following month, he would end up dropping a new single called Ain't No Player, featuring Foxy Brown. The song reached number 50 on the Hot 100, making it his first ever appearance on the chart. This would end up being the first single off his soon-to-be-released debut album. A few months later, in the month of June, Jay-Z would finally drop his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. Although the album wasn't a strong commercial success at the time, the album was critically acclaimed and over the years has been considered his best work. It debuted at number 23 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 43,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The second single, Can't Knock the Hustle, featuring Mary J. Blige, reached number 73 on the Hot 100. The third single, Feelin' It, reached number 79 on the Hot 100. At this time, Jay-Z was just getting started. Next on the C-list, we got Public Enemy. In 1994, they dropped their 5th album, Music and Our Message. The title itself is a reverse mondegreen of the actual phrase. The album debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 56,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, Give It Up, reached number 33 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single. Next up, we got Loonies, a West Coast hip-hop duo from Oakland that consists of Yutmouth and Numbskull. Their formation began in the early 90s and they would eventually get signed to a label called New Tribe Records. In 1995, they would drop their debut album, Operation Stack Cola. It debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. Thanks to the success of the lead single, I Got 5 on It, featuring Michael Marshall. The song was a global smash hit, reaching number 8 on the Hot 100. It was also very popular in Europe and was also able to chart in Australia and New Zealand. The song also had a remix version known as the Bay Ballers Remix, which features Drew Down, E40, Richie Rich, Shock G, and Spice One. Next up, we got Crisscross. In the mid-90s, their legendary run would come to a quick end with the release of their third and final album, Young, Rich, and Dangerous, in 1996. It debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, Tonight's the Night, reached number 12 on the Hot 100. The second single, Live and Die for Hip Hop, featuring Da Brat, Aaliyah, Jermaine Dupri, and Mr. Black, reached number 72 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Mobb Deep, a legendary East Coast hip-hop duo from Queens, New York that consists of Havoc and Prodigy. They had first started off in the early 90s. They had dropped their debut album, Juvenile Hell, in 1993 while signed to a label called 4th and B-Way Records. The album flopped and failed to chart. The duo was then dropped from the label, but they would quickly bounce back in free agency and sign to Loud Records the same year. They would then get to work on album number 2. In 1995, they would drop their critically acclaimed second album, The Infamous. This album would break them into the mainstream as it had debuted at number 18 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. Years later, this album has been referenced as one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. The lead single, Shook Ones Part 2, reached number 59 on the Hot 100. The second single, Survival of the Fittest, reached number 69 on the Hot 100. In 1996, they would quickly drop their third album, Hell on Earth. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 150,000 copies and went gold in 5 months, without any hit singles. The first 2 singles, Front Lines and G.O.D. Part 3, both did well on US urban radio. Next up, we got Lost Boys. This East Coast hip-hop group was also from Queens, consisting of Mr. Cheeks, Freaky Ta, DJ Spig Nice, and Pretty Lou. The group would start to take off in the mid-90s after signing to Uptown Records. In May of 1996, they dropped their debut album, Legal Drug Money. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 100,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The album had 5 singles released. The lead single, Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless, was released well over a year before the album and had reached number 91 on the Hot 100. The second single, Jeeps, Lex Coupes, Beamers, and Benz, reached number 67 on the Hot 100. The third single, Renee, reached number 33 on the Hot 100, becoming their highest charting single. This song was also included on the movie soundtrack for Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. The fourth single off the album, Music Makes Me High, reached number 51 on the Hot 100. The fifth and final single, Get Up, reached number 60 on the Hot 100. Next on the C-list, we got E40, a legendary West Coast MC from the Bay Area. His career started in the early 90s with the release of his debut album, Federal, in 1992, and an EP called The Mailman in 1993. Both projects were independently released through his label called Sick With It Records. With those 2 projects, he was able to make some noise in the underground. He was then able to secure a major label distribution deal with Jive Records. In 1995, he dropped his second album, In a Major Way. It debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 70,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, One Love, featuring Lavidi, reached number 71 on the Hot 100. The second single, Sprinkle Me, featuring Sugar T, reached number 44 on the Hot 100. In 1996, E40 would quickly drop his third album, The Hall of Game. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Rapper's Ball, featuring Too Short and KC, reached number 29 on the Hot 100. Next on the C-list, we got Skee-Lo, who was also from the West Coast after moving from Chicago where he was originally born, and also one of the one-hit wonders from this era. How he first got on was through signing a deal with Sunshine Records, and would record in their studio for his debut album. He would then get major label distribution by Scotty Brothers Records. In April 1995, he released his debut single, I Wish. In an era where it was mostly gangster rap dominating, despite the song being a clean and family-friendly rap song about not being tall enough to impress girls, it was still a major success, reaching number 13 on the Hot 100. It also did well internationally, charting in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and was very popular in Europe. 2 months later, his debut album of the same name was released in June. It had debuted at number 92 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 53 weeks later, and went gold in 5 months. However, the next 2 singles, Top of the Stairs and Superman, didn't do as well, failing to chart on the Hot 100. After this, Skee-Lo would quietly go on a hiatus, due to shady business by Sunshine Records, who had allegedly taken full credit of the album, with Skee-Lo not receiving any compensation from the record sales. He would eventually win the rights to his music years later in court. Outside of this, he briefly worked as a VJ on a couple MTV shows in 1996. Next up, we got Ini Kamuzi, a Jamaican reggae artist who was also another one-hit wonder from the 90s. Despite his cultural background, he was able to break through to the US hip-hop market with the release of his 1994 hit single, Here Comes the Hot Stepper, Murderer. The song was a global smash hit, topping the Hot 100, and was also a major hit in other countries, charting high in Canada, Australia, Europe, and New Zealand. This would be the lead single off his 5th album of the same name, which was released through Columbia Records, but it wouldn't help as the album flopped and failed to even chart on the Billboard 200. Next on the C-list, we got Shaggy, Another Jamaican artist who can't be left off the list. Coming from the city of Kingston, Shaggy was able to make a little noise in the early 90s with his popular reggae cover version of Oh Carolina, after signing a deal with Virgin Records. The song was a minor hit in the US, but was massively popular in Europe and the rest of the world. This would give him the momentum going forward into the mid-90s. He was also able to cross over into the hip-hop market as well with his reggae fusion sound. In 1995, he dropped his third album, Bombastic. The album debuted at number 42 on the Billboard 200, and within a couple months, peaked at number 34 and went gold. The album would then go platinum over a year later, thanks to the hit single of the same name, which reached number 3 on the Hot 100, Mr. Lover Lover. Next up, we got 6ix9ine Boys, a southern hip-hop duo from Jacksonville, Florida that consists of Thrill the Player and Fast Cash. They had first signed a deal with a label called Rip It Records. With the label, they would drop their debut album, 1990 Quad, in 1994. It had debuted at number 180 on the Billboard 200, and months later would peak at number 59. The album went gold in 9 months and would then go platinum in 14 months, thanks to its hit singles. The lead single, Tootsie Roll, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. The second single, Kitty Kitty, reached number 51 on the Hot 100. And to wrap up the C-list, we got Junior Mafia, a young teenage rap group from New York that was founded and mentored by Biggie Smalls, anchored by its two members, Lil Kim and Lil Cease. In 1995, they dropped their first and only album, Conspiracy. It debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 69,000 copies and went gold in 4 months. The lead single, Player's Anthem, reached number 13 on the Hot 100. The second single, I Need You Tonight, featuring Aaliyah, didn't chart on the Hot 100, but did well on urban radio. The third single, Get Money, reached number 17 on the Hot 100. The remix version of the song had Biggie Smalls on it. Now for the D-list. For the mid-90s D-list, we got AZ, Gangstar, Souls of Mischief, MC Lyte, Master P, Shaquille O'Neal, Keith Murray, House of Pain, UGK, Spice One, MC8, DJ Quick, Ill Al Scratch, Lords of the Underground, MOP, Das Effects, Big Mike, Goody Mob, Chino XL, Patra, Gravediggers, The Far Side, Slick Rick, Snow, Buju Banton, Bounty Killer, Supercat, Born Jamericans, Rappin' Forte, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Onyx, Do or Die, The Roots, Cool G Rap, Ghetto Boys, Fat Joe, Ahmad, Exhibit, Mystical, Vicious, Channel Live, Rascast, Funkmaster Flex, Big L, Common, 8 Ball and MJG, Shabba Ranks, Diggable Planets, KRS-One, Shaheem, DJ Cool, and Mac 10. Now, for the first time in this video, we got some other mentions just for this chapter. Eazy-E's death. On February 24th, 1995, Eazy-E was taken to hospital while suffering from a violent cough. He was then quickly diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. On March 16th, he announced his illness through a public statement. A few days later, he issued another statement and one last message to his fans by saying, and I quote, "Now I'm in the biggest fight of my life, and it ain't easy. But I want to say much love to those who have been down with me, and thanks for all your support. Just remember, it's your real time and your real life." After this, on March 26th, Eazy-E would pass away. He was only 30 years old. His funeral would take place on April 7th with thousands of people in attendance. The ownership of his Ruthless Records label would be handed over to his wife, Tamika Wright. In January 1996, his second album, Straight Off the Streets of Compton, was posthumously released. The album was unfinished at the time of Eazy-E's death. Producers would complete the album by throwing on leftovers and scraps from the vault of unreleased tracks. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 4 months. The only single off the album, Just to Let You Know, reached number 45 on the Hot 100. Rest in peace, Eazy. Chapter 3, the late 90s. Starting off with the A-list. First up, we got Jay-Z. After the release of his debut album, Jay-Z would immediately start to ascend. He would then sign a new joint venture deal with Def Jam. In 1997, he would drop his second album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1. With this album, he would lean towards a more commercial type of sound while still maintaining that hardcore street vibe that he had on the first album. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 138,000 copies, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum in 15 months. The lead single, Always Be My Sunshine, featuring Foxy Brown and Babyface, reached number 95 on the Hot 100. The second single, The City Is Mine, featuring Blackstreet, reached number 52 on the Hot 100. In 1998, Jay-Z would drop his third album, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. This album would be the album that would turn him into a superstar and a household name. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 350,000 copies, making it his first ever number 1 album. It would stay at number 1 for 5 consecutive weeks. Within 4 months, the album went quadruple platinum. The lead single, Can I Get a What, featuring Emil and Ja Rule, reached number 19 on the Hot 100. The song was also included on the movie soundtrack for Rush Hour. The second single, Hard Knock Life, Ghetto Anthem, reached number 15 on the Hot 100. The third single, Money Cash Hoes, didn't chart on the Hot 100, but was more so a street single that did well on urban radio. The fourth single, Jigga What, Jigga Who, Originator 99, featuring Jaz-O and Emil, reached number 84 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Jay-Z would keep things going with the release of his fourth album, Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter. This album was released just a few days before New Year's Eve and ended up charting in the year 2000. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 462,000 copies and went double platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Do It Again, Put Your Hands Up, featuring Emil and Beanie Siegel, reached number 65 on the Hot 100. The second single, Anything, reached number 55 on the Hot 100, despite being on the European version of the album's release. The fourth and final single, Big Pimpin', featuring UGK, reached number 18 on the Hot 100. Next on the A-list, we got Nas. After his second album, he would link up with AZ and Foxy Brown to form a rap supergroup called The Firm. How this first came about was from a track they did on the It Was Written album called Affirmative Action, which had also included another rapper by the name of Cormega, who was supposed to be the fourth member of the group, but was then replaced by another rapper called Nature before it was time to record an album. In 1997, the group would drop their first and only album, which was simply called The Album. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 147,000 copies and would later go platinum despite having no hit singles. The lead single, Firm Biz, featuring Don Richardson, was able to do well on US urban radio and was able to chart in Europe and New Zealand. After this, Nas would continue his solo career and pick up where he left off. In 1999, he would drop 2 albums within the calendar year. In April, he dropped his third album, I Am. This album was actually meant to be a double album called I Am the Autobiography, but it had been bootlegged after getting leaked on the internet, causing Nas to scrap most of the songs and shorten it to a 1-disc album. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 470,000 copies, making it his second number 1 album. It went platinum in 2 months and would go double platinum over a year later. The lead single, Nas Is Like, reached number 86 on the Hot 100. The second single, Hate Me Now, featuring Puff Daddy, reached number 62 on the Hot 100. 6 months later, in the month of November, Nas would release his fourth album, Nostradamus. This album had intended to be disc number 2 of his planned double album, but had also been bootlegged, causing Nas to record new songs to finish the album. By this time, Nas had finally became a label owner, starting up Ill Will Records as an imprint label under Columbia. The album debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 232,000 copies and went platinum in a month. The lead single of the same name reached number 92 on the Hot 100. The second single, You Owe Me, featuring Genuine, reached number 59 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Beastie Boys. In 1998, they would drop their fifth album, Hello Nasty. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 681,000 copies and went triple platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Intergalactic, reached number 28 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single in over 10 years. Next on the A-list, we got Wu-Tang Clan. In the late 90s, the group would reach their peak. In 1997, they would drop their second album, Wu-Tang Forever. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 612,000 copies and went quadruple platinum in 4 months, despite having no hit singles, very limited radio play, and very limited TV rotation for the singles. The lead single, Triumph, was able to achieve some US urban airplay and was also able to chart in the UK. Next up, we got Master P, a southern hip-hop legend from New Orleans who started off as an independent artist and slowly built up his No Limit Records empire. After years of the independent grind, by the mid-90s he had gotten an 85/15 major label distribution deal with Priority Records, meaning he would keep 85% of the record sales with Priority getting 15%. Also, Master P would own 100% of his masters. This deal would help him make him wealthy and eventually one of the biggest rappers in the game. In the late 90s, Master P would take over and flood the market. In 1997, he dropped his sixth album, Ghetto D. This would be the album that would break him into the mainstream. It had first debuted at number 137 on the Billboard 200, and in the second week would skyrocket to number 1, selling 260,000 copies for that week, making it his first ever number 1 album. It would go platinum in a month and go double platinum within 4 months, thanks to its hit singles. The lead single, I Miss My Homies, featuring Pimp C and Silk the Shocker, reached number 25 on the Hot 100. The second single, Make 'Em Say, da 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 da, featuring Fiend, Mia X, Silk the Shocker, and Mystical, reached number 16 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. In 1998, he would then drop his 7th album, MP The Last Dawn, which was a double album. It debuted at number 112 on the Billboard 200 and rose up to number 1 the following week, with sales of 495,000 copies. The album would stay at number 1 for a second week in a row. The album would then go quadruple platinum in a month. The lead single, Goodbye to My Homies, featuring Silk the Shocker, Sons of Funk, and Moby Dick, reached number 27 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Master P would drop his 8th album, Only God Can Judge Me. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 153,000 copies and went gold in 7 months. The lead single off the album, Step to This, featuring D.I.G., reached number 88 on the Hot 100. Outside of this, Master P was also a part of a group called True, alongside his brothers, Silk the Shocker and C Murder. The name itself is an acronym which stands for The Real Untouchables. It had first started off as an 8-man group, which was eventually shortened to 3 members. The group had already put out a few albums before No Limit Records took off after the Priority deal. In 1997, they would drop their 4th album, True to the Game. It debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 200,000 copies and went double platinum in 8 months. The lead single off the album, I Always Feel Like, featuring Moby Dick and Mia X, reached number 71 on the Hot 100. In 1999, the group would drop their 5th album, The Crime Family. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 139,000 copies and went gold over a year later with lesser performing singles. The 2 singles, Hootie Hoo and True Homies, didn't chart on the Hot 100, but did okay on urban radio. Outside of music, Master P also starred, directed, and produced a few movies, such as I'm 'Bout It, I Got the Hookup, and Foolish, which were all accompanied by gold and platinum selling soundtracks. Also during this time period, Master P would branch off into sports, becoming the first and only rapper so far to have played in the NBA. Prior to the lockout short in 1998-99 season, Master P was briefly on the training camp roster for the Charlotte Hornets per request by Ricky Davis's father for him to participate. He ended up playing a couple exhibition games before getting cut by the team. The following season, he would join the Toronto Raptors training camp roster. He ended up playing 1 preseason game for them in which he scored 8 points, but was cut from the team before the regular season began. Not gonna lie, as a Raptors fan, it's pretty cool to be able to say we once had Master P on our team. Next on the A-list, we got Snoop Dogg. After the release of his 2nd album, Snoop Dogg would switch labels, leaving Death Row and then signing to No Limit. Looking back on that was probably the best free agent signing in hip-hop history. I mean, you got Prime Snoop Dogg with Prime Master P on the same label, along with guys like Mystical, Silk the Shocker, C Murder, and the rest of them. That's a huge steal. No Limit was super stacked back then. In 1998, Snoop Dogg would drop his 3rd album, The Game Is to Be Sold, Not to Be Told. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 520,000 copies and went double platinum in 2 months. Despite the commercial success of the album, it received negative reviews from the critics, as arguably the worst album that he's ever done. Since it was executive produced by Master P, who would often just rush the music and put out anything, even if it wasn't good enough. Also, the album had no Dr. Dre production on it. The lead single, Still a G-Thang, reached number 19 on the Hot 100. The 2nd single, Wolf, featuring Mystical and Fiend, reached number 62 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Snoop Dogg would drop his 4th album, No Limit Top Dog. With this album, Snoop Dogg would have some creative control and get back to his authentic West Coast sound, also while reuniting with Dr. Dre for the production. This album will receive better reviews from the critics. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 187,000 copies. The reason why the first week album sales were so low was because he dropped on a bad week. That year, dropping the same week as Ricky Martin ain't a good idea if you're trying to sell some records. That guy was living La Vida Loca. Everyone was too busy buying his album. Some people were probably like, oh wait, Snoop Dogg dropped a new album? Oh shit, I didn't know. I'm gonna buy that on my next paycheck. But still, No Limit Top Dog went platinum in 5 months, even with lower charting singles. The 2nd single, Trick Please, featuring Exhibit and Nate Dogg, was the only single to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 77. Next on the A-list, we got Will Smith. At this time, his acting career had ascended to Hollywood status, after starring in movies such as Bad Boys and Independence Day. But Will Smith would still get back to his hip-hop roots and return to music, this time as a solo artist. In the late 90s, Will Smith would showcase his commercial dominance in both music and movies. In 1997, he did a song called Men in Black, which ended up being a single for the movie's soundtrack, and the song was a massive global hit. It didn't chart on the Hot 100 due to Billboard's charting rules when it came to non-commercially released songs. Instead, it reached number 1 on the Hot 100 Airplay chart. The song was also number 1 in 10 other countries. This would earn Will Smith a new multi-year record deal with Columbia. Later that same year, in 1997, he dropped his solo debut album, Big Willie Style, in November. The hit single Men in Black was also added to the album's track list. The album debuted at number 31 on the Billboard 200, and months later would slowly rise up the charts, peaking at number 8. Within a year of the album's release, it had gone quadruple platinum in a matter of 10 months. It would ultimately go 9 times platinum by the year 2000, already becoming his best-selling album. And he didn't have to cuss in his rap to sell records. The lead single, Just Cruisin', was just a European release, and did moderately well on European charts. The 2nd single, Getting Jiggy With It, would go crazy, topping the Hot 100, making it his first ever number 1 on the chart. The song also did very well internationally. The 3rd single, Just the Two of Us, which was inspired by the original Grover Washington Jr. song of the same name, reached number 20 on the Hot 100. The 4th and final single, Miami, reached number 17 on the Hot 100. At this point, Will Smith was just on fire. In 1999, he would drop his 2nd album, Millennium, also in the month of November. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 187,000 copies and quickly went double platinum. A song called Wild Wild West featuring Drew Hill and Kool Moe Dee, which was a single off the movie soundtrack, was also added to the Millennium album. The song was also a huge banger, topping the Hot 100 and also blazed up the charts internationally. The second single, Will 2K, featuring KC, reached number 25 on the Hot 100. The final single, Freakin' It, reached number 99 on the Hot 100. Put some respect on Will Smith's name. Next up, we got Mace. He had first started off rapping as a teenager under the name Murda Mace, which is why you often hear Cameron address him as Murda on their now popular sports show, It Is What It Is. Before Mace's rap career took off, he was briefly a part of an underground rap group called Children of the Corn, alongside Big L, Cameron, Herb McGruff, Bloodshed, and Six Figure Digga. But the group would then split up, with each of them pursuing solo careers. Mace's sister had helped introduce him to Biggie's manager. He would then take Mace to Atlanta to attend a rap convention where Jermaine Dupri and Sean Puffy Combs were in attendance. Mace met up with Puff at the event and rapped for him. Puff would then sign Mace to Bad Boy Records on a $250,000 deal. This would be life-changing for Mace and turn him into a superstar. In 1997, he dropped his debut album, Harlem World. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 272,000 copies. Within 9 months, the album went triple platinum. The lead single, Feel So Good, featuring Kelly Price, reached number 5 on the Hot 100, becoming his highest charting single already. The second single, What You Want, featuring Total, reached number 6 on the Hot 100. The final single, Looking At Me, featuring Puff Daddy, reached number 8 on the Hot 100. However, despite all this success, Mace began to have second thoughts about his rap career. During a Hot 97 interview in April 1999 while working on his second album, he had publicly announced that he was going to retire from music to pursue a calling from God, and had stated that he was quote-unquote leading people, friends, kids, and others down a path to hell, once he felt conflicted about his lyrical content. A couple months later, his second album, Double Up, was released in June. It had debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 107,000 copies and went gold in a month, with lower charting singles. The lead single, Get Ready, featuring Blackstreet, didn't chart on the Hot 100, but did okay on US urban radio and was able to chart in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. After this, Mace would keep his word and step away from music to pursue that calling. He had continued his education by enrolling at Clark Atlanta University. He had also become an ordained minister and would start preaching the gospel full-time, going from the studio to the sanctuary. Let the church say, Amen. Next up, we got the Notorious B.I.G. In the late 90s, Biggie Smalls' rap career would start ascending to new heights, but unfortunately, during this time period, his life was cut short, and he wouldn't live to see the release of his upcoming second album. 6 months after Tupac's death, Biggie Smalls would die in the same fashion after a drive-by shooting. At the time, he was in LA and had left from an after-party event with his entourage. He had been shot while sitting in the passenger seat at a red light by an unidentified suspect. Biggie was shot 4 times, with the final bullet proving to be fatal. He was quickly rushed to hospital, but he wouldn't make it and was immediately pronounced dead. He was only 24 years old. Within a week, a funeral was held for the late rapper. After the funeral, his body was cremated. 16 days after his death, his second album, Life After Death, was posthumously released, as originally planned before his death. It had first debuted at number 176 on the Billboard 200 and had skyrocketed to number 1 with sales of 690,000 copies. By the end of the year, the album had gone 6 times platinum. The lead single, Hypnotize, had actually been released a few days before he passed away. The song ended up becoming a mega hit, topping the Hot 100, becoming his first ever number 1 hit. The music video would be the last one he ever appeared in before his death. The second single, Mo Money Mo Problems, featuring Puff Daddy and Mace, also topped the Hot 100, mainly due to its heavy sample of Diana Ross's 1980 hit single, I'm Coming Out, making it back-to-back number 1 hit singles off the album. The third and final single ended up being Sky's the Limit, featuring 112. The song didn't chart on the Hot 100 since it was released as a triple A-side single along with Going Back to Cali and Kickin' the Door. Sky's the Limit had instead charted internationally. It did well in Canada and a few European countries. Meanwhile, Going Back to Cali ended up charting in the US, reaching number 26 on the Hot 100. In 1999, a compilation album called Born Again was also posthumously released on behalf of Biggie in order to uphold his legacy. It was put together by using old unreleased verses with remixed beats and adding featured guests for each track. The album topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 485,000 copies and quickly went double platinum. One of the singles, Notorious B.I.G., featuring Puff Daddy and Lil Kim, reached number 82 on the Hot 100. Once again, rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. Next on the A-list, we got Puff Daddy. After already establishing himself as a successful music mogul and record executive, Puff Daddy would finally take the plunge as an artist in the late 90s. In 1997, he would drop his debut album, No Way Out. For this album, the artist name was credited as Puff Daddy and the Family, which refers to the guest appearances of the artist who was signed to his Bad Boy Records label. The album topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 561,000 copies, and over a year later would go 6 times platinum. The lead single, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, featuring Mace, topped the Hot 100. The second single, I'll Be Missing You, featuring Faith Evans and 112, which was a tribute to the late Biggie Smalls, also topped the Hot 100, making it back-to-back number 1 singles off the album. The third single, Been Around the World, featuring Mace and Biggie Smalls, reached number 2 on the Hot 100. The final single, Victory, featuring Busta Rhymes, reached number 19 on the Hot 100. In between both of those last two singles, a song called It's All About the Benjamins featuring Biggie, Lil Kim, and The Lox was released as a B-side to Been Around the World, which helped that song become popular despite not charting on the Hot 100. In 1999, Puff Daddy would drop his second album, Forever. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 205,000 copies and went platinum in a month. The lead single, Satisfy You, featuring R. Kelly, reached number 2 on the Hot 100. On a personal note, I honestly think this song is trash because he basically took the beat and the bass line from Looney's I Got 5 on it and tried to remake the song as his own, which is just so unoriginal. The second single off the album, Best Friend featuring Mario Winans, reached number 59 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Lauryn Hill. After the Fugees would go on hiatus, all three members would start their solo careers. But out of all three, Lauryn Hill would shine the brightest. In 1998, she would drop her critically acclaimed debut album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 422,000 copies, making her the first ever female rapper to have a number 1 album. It would continue to sell like crazy. In less than a year, the album went 5 times platinum. Decades later, to this day, it would go diamond, making her the first and only rapper so far to have a diamond-selling album. The lead single, Do Wop That Thing, was entirely written and self-produced by Lauryn. The song turned out to be an absolute banger, topping the Hot 100, making it her biggest song ever. The second single, X Factor, reached number 21 on the Hot 100. The third single, which is my personal favorite, Everything Is Everything, reached number 35 on the Hot 100. Next on the A-list, we got DMX. First off, want to say, rest in peace to the dog. His legacy lives on forever. As a little kid in the late 90s, I was definitely outside when DMX first took off. I vividly remember hearing his music at the time and seeing him on award shows winning like crazy. DMX first started rapping in the 80s as a teenager. He had spent years working on his craft by recording demos, but his rise to the top wasn't an easy climb. He had first gotten a deal in 1991 through a Columbia Records subsidiary label, but was dropped after his debut single flopped. In 1994, Death Row tried to sign him, but the deal never went through. He even tried to sign to Bad Boy Records, but was immediately rejected by Puff, saying he wasn't marketable enough. At this point, it seemed like a rap career for DMX seemed hopeless, until he met Irv Gotti in 1997, who had become the A&R president at Def Jam. After showing up in person for a showcasing where he rapped for Leor Cohen, who was the president of the label at the time, he would then sign DMX to Def Jam. He was very impressed with what he saw from him. This would end up being a huge draft pick for the label, as he would make those other labels regret not believing in him. In 1998, DMX would immediately take off with the release of his classic debut album, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, in the month of May. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 251,000 copies. Within less than a year, the album went triple platinum, and he did it without having to cross over to mainstream pop music. Just straight up real and authentic rough and rugged hardcore hip-hop that had the streets going crazy. It was the perfect storm. The lead single, Get At Me Dog, featuring Sheek Louch, reached number 39 on the Hot 100. The second single, Stop Being Greedy, reached number 79 on the Hot 100. The third single, Rough Riders Anthem, had originally peaked at number 93 on the Hot 100. Despite its low chart performance, years later this would end up being in the top 2 most popular songs in his catalog. Because after his death in 2021, in the streaming era, the song had re-entered the chart and reached a new peak of number 16, becoming his highest charting single nearly 25 years later. The fourth single off the album, How's It Going Down, reached number 70 on the Hot 100. But wait, there's more. DMX would continue to have the game in an absolute chokehold. He would capitalize on this early success by quickly dropping his second album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, just 7 months later in December, making it 2 albums in 1 year. This album would also top the Billboard 200, with first week sales of 670,000 copies, making him the second artist to have 2 number 1 albums in the same calendar year. The last artist to do so was Tupac in 1996, with one of the albums being a posthumous release. Therefore, this would make DMX the first ever artist to accomplish this while still alive. Within the month, the album would quickly go double platinum, even with no hit singles. The only single off the album was Slippin', which didn't chart on the Hot 100, but did okay on US urban radio. The song had also did moderately well in the UK, reaching number 30 on the UK singles chart. In 1999, DMX would drop another bomb with his third album, And Then There Was X. The album was released just 11 days before the year 2000, and would carry over into that following year. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of nearly 700,000 copies, and within a year, the album would go 5 times platinum. At this time, DMX was the biggest rapper in the world, and would remain one of the hottest rappers going into the early 2000s. The lead single, What's My Name, reached number 67 on the Hot 100. The second single, Party Up Up in Here, would be his biggest song, reaching number 27 on the Hot 100. The third and final single, What They Really Want, featuring Sisqó, reached number 49 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Bone Thugs and Harmony. In 1997, they dropped their third album, The Art of War, which was also a double album. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 394,000 copies, and in less than a year, it went quadruple platinum. The lead single, Look Into My Eyes, reached number 4 on the Hot 100. The song was also included on the movie soundtrack for Batman and Robin. The second single, If I Could Teach the World, reached number 27 on the Hot 100. And to wrap up the A-list, we got Dr. Dre. In 1999, he would finally drop his highly anticipated second album, 2001, otherwise known as The Chronic 2001, making it his first album in 7 years. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 516,000 copies. Within a year, the album went 6 times platinum, making it his best-selling album. The lead single, Still D.R.E., featuring Snoop Dogg, was entirely written by Jay-Z. The song had originally peaked at number 93 on the Hot 100, which is shockingly low for such a huge anthem of a song, because that beat is just legendary. Years later, this would gain popularity as one of his biggest songs ever. After his 2022 Super Bowl halftime show performance, the song re-entered the chart, peaking at number 23, thanks to the high number of streams it got following the Super Bowl. The second single off the album, Forgot About Dre featuring Eminem, reached number 25 on the Hot 100. The third and final single, The Next Episode featuring Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, and Corrupt, reached number 23 on the Hot 100. Now for the B-list. First up, we got Scarface. In 1997, he dropped his fourth album, The Untouchable. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 169,000 copies, making it his first number 1 album. It would then go platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Smile featuring Tupac, reached number 12 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. In 1998, Scarface would drop his fifth album, My Homies, which was a double album. Despite having no charted singles, the album was still a commercial success. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 150,000 copies and went platinum in a month after selling 500,000 copies in the US. Next on the B-list, we got Eminem. He had first started rapping as a teenager in the late 80s under the name MC-double-M. During this time, Eminem would start networking with other local aspiring rappers from the city of Detroit. He was first a part of a group called New Jacks. A few years later, the group would then change their name to Soul Intent. Around this time, Eminem would also link up with Proof and a few other rappers to form another group called The Dirty Dozen. By the year 1996, Eminem had dropped an album called Infinite, which was his official debut. The album had been released through a local indie label called Web Entertainment. Only 1,000 copies of the album had been pressed by the label, and ended up selling less than 100 copies. At this time, Eminem was still a starving artist and was not getting any respect for his rapping ability. But he would then get creative. In 1997, he would drop an EP called the Slim Shady EP, introducing his alter ego with more angrier, moodier, and funnier tracks. That same year, Eminem would try press his luck by flying to Los Angeles to enter the Rap Olympics. He would make it far in the competition, but fell short, finishing in second place. Despite not winning the competition, Eminem had a memorable run, impressing the crowd with his awesome delivery, clever wordplay, crazy punchlines, and metaphors. Little did he know, an intern from Interscope Records was in attendance watching the whole thing. Eminem would get approached by the intern and ask for a copy of his demo, which was the Slim Shady EP. Still feeling discouraged from losing, Eminem would toss the demo in frustration to the intern. The demo was then sent to Jimmy Iovine, who was impressed by what he heard. He would then send the demo to Dr. Dre, and he was also blown away by what he heard. Dr. Dre was like, okay, that's it, I've heard enough. I need to sign this guy like right now. By 1998, Dr. Dre would get in touch with Eminem and sign him to his Aftermath Entertainment label. Finally, things were starting to happen for Marshall Mathers. Him and Dr. Dre would get to work in the studio. In February 1999, Eminem would drop his major label debut, the Slim Shady LP. A couple tracks from the Slim Shady EP had also been added to the album's track list. The album had received critical acclaim and was also a huge commercial success. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 283,000 copies and went triple platinum by the end of the year. The lead single off the album, My Name Is, reached number 36 on the Hot 100 and had also did well internationally. The comedic nature of the song and music video had given Eminem enough hype and notoriety prior to the album's release. After this, Eminem would continue to shine as his career would instantly soar in an upward trajectory the following decade. This was just the beginning for him. Next on the B-list, we got Mystical. Coming straight out of New Orleans, this rapper was known for his loud and brash delivery along with a southern raspy voice, which really made him unique and stand out from the rest. He had first dropped his self-titled debut album in 1994 on an indie label. He would then sign a deal with Jive Records and dropped his major label debut album, Mind of Mystical, in 1996. After this, he would also sign to Master P's No Limit Records, and his career would take off from here. In 1997, he would drop his second album, Unpredictable. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 81,000 copies. It went gold in a month and went platinum in 5 months, despite having no hit singles. In 1999, Mystical would quickly drop his third album, Ghetto Fabulous. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 386,000 copies and went platinum in a month, which also had no hit singles needed to make the album sell well, thanks to the No Limit machine behind him. Next up, we got Silk the Shocker. Alongside his brother Master P and the rest of No Limit, his career would start to ascend in the late 90s. In 1998, he would drop his second album, Charge It to the Game, in the month of February. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 245,000 copies and went platinum in less than 2 months. The lead single, Just Be Straight With Me, featuring Master P and Destiny's Child, reached number 57 on the Hot 100. The second single, It Ain't My Fault, featuring Mystical, reached number 18 on the Hot 100, making it his highest charting single. 11 months later, Silk the Shocker would drop his third album, Made Man, in January of 1999. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 240,000 copies, making it his first #1 album. It went platinum in 3 months despite having no hit singles. The lead single, Somebody Like Me, featuring Mia, did well on US urban radio. The second single, It Ain't My Fault Part 2, didn't chart, failing to live up to the hype of the original one. Next up, we got Method Man. After the release of Wu-Tang's second album, Method Man would get back to work on the solo albums. In 1998, he would drop his second album, Judgment Day. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 411,000 copies and went platinum in a month, despite having lower charting singles. One of the singles, Breakups to Makeups, featuring D'Angelo, reached number 98 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Redman. In the late 90s, Redman would have a very productive stretch of his career. In 1998, he dropped his fourth album, Docs the Name 2000. It debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum in 3 months, becoming his best-selling album, despite having no hit singles. The first couple singles, I'll Be That and The Goodness featuring Busta Rhymes, both only did well on urban radio. The following year, both him and Method Man would get back together and drop their first ever collab album, Blackout, in 1999. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 254,000 copies and went platinum in 4 months. No hit singles needed. The two singles, The Rockwilder and YOU, were the most popular songs off the album that did well on urban radio and received enough rotation to help the album sell well. Outside of this, Redman was briefly a part of a rap supergroup called Def Squad alongside Eric Sermon and Keith Murray. In 1998, they had dropped their first and only album, El Nino. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 152,000 copies and went gold in a month. Next up, we got Busta Rhymes. In 1997, he would drop his second album, When Disaster Strikes. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 165,000 copies and went platinum in a month. The lead single off the album, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, didn't chart on the Hot 100 since it wasn't commercially released. It ended up charting on the Hot 100 airplay chart, peaking at number 37. The second single, Dangerous, reached number 9 on the Hot 100. The third single, Turn It Up Remix / Fire It Up, reached number 10 on the Hot 100. In 1998, Busta Rhymes would quickly drop his third album, Extinction Level Event, The Final World Front. It debuted at number 12 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 210,000 copies and went platinum in a month. The fourth and final single, What's It Gonna Be, featuring Janet Jackson, was the only single to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 3, becoming his highest charting single. Next up, we got Missy Elliott. Growing up in Virginia, Missy Elliott would meet Timbaland. The two would become friends and work together while chasing their dreams. After working her way up in the industry, Missy Elliott signed a deal in 1996 to create her own imprint label called The Gold Mine Incorporated, alongside East West Records, which at the time was a division of Elektra Records. In 1997, Missy Elliott dropped her critically acclaimed debut album, Super Duper Fly. The album was produced by both herself and Timbaland. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 129,000 copies and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, The Rain Super Duper Fly, was a non-commercial release, preventing it from charting on the Hot 100. Therefore, it had appeared on the Hot 100 airplay chart, reaching number 51. The second single, Sock It To Me, featuring The Brat, reached number 12 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Missy would drop her second album, The Real World. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 8 months. One of the singles was a remix version of Hot Boys, featuring Nas, Eve, Lil Mo, and Q-Tip, which reached number 5 on the Hot 100, making it her first ever top 10 hit. After this, Missy Elliott would continue to ascend and would remain one of the hottest rappers going into the early 2000s. Next on the B list, we got LL Cool J. In 1997, he would drop his 7th album, Phenomenon. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 3 months. See what I just did there with the 7s? The lead single of the same name reached number 55 on the Hot 100. The second single, 4321, featuring Method Man, Redman, Cannabis, and DMX, reached number 75 on the Hot 100. The third single, Father, reached number 18 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Wyclef Jean. After the Fugees split, he would drop his solo debut album, The Carnival, in 1997. It debuted at number 16 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 52,000 copies. It went gold in 2 months, went platinum in 5 months, and went double platinum in 18 months, which ended up being his best-selling album. The lead single, We Trying to Stay Alive, featuring John Forte and Praz, reached number 45 on the Hot 100. The third single, Gone Till November, reached number 7 on the Hot 100, becoming his highest charting single. Next on the B list, we got Foxy Brown. After the firm's debut album, Foxy Brown would resume her solo career and drop her second album, China Doll, in 1999. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 173,000 copies, making Foxy Brown the second female rapper to have a #1 album. It would go platinum in 2 months, even with lesser performing singles. One of the singles, Hotspot, was the only single to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 91. Next on the B list, we got Juvenile, taking over for the 99 and the 2000. Just like Master P, another Southern hip-hop legend from New Orleans. He had started rapping as a teenager in the early 90s before getting recognized. He had first signed to Warlock Records and dropped his debut album called Being Myself in 1995, which flopped and didn't do anything. Juvenile would then leave the label due to creative differences. In order to get by, Juvenile would do things legally by getting a job at a gas processing plant. While waiting at a bus stop after work, he would meet up with Birdman. After freestyling for him in person, Birdman would take Juvenile to the Cash Money headquarters to spit another freestyle for Manny Fresh. After making a big impression, Birdman would sign Juvenile to Cash Money Records. In 1997, Juvenile would drop his second album, Soldier Rags. Although it didn't chart on the Billboard 200, this would make some noise in the underground. At the time, Cash Money was still an independent label, and they would get a big major label distribution deal with Universal Records in 1998, which would benefit all the artists on the label. That same year, Juvenile dropped his third album, 400 Degrees, in the month of November. This album would break him into the mainstream. The album debuted at number 36 on the Billboard 200. Months later, it would rise up the charts, peaking at number 9. Within a year of the album's release, it went triple platinum, becoming his best-selling album. The lead single, Ha, reached number 68 on the Hot 100. The second single, Back That Ass Up, featuring Lil Wayne and Manny Fresh, reached number 19 on the Hot 100. This song was the spark plug for the album's increase in sales. It would end up being his signature song over the years. In 1999, Juvenile would drop his fourth album, The G Code, in December. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 290,000 copies and quickly went platinum in just a month. The lead single, You Understand, reached number 83 on the Hot 100. Outside of this, Juvenile was also a part of a rap group called The Hot Boys, alongside Lil Wayne, BG, and Turk, who were also his label mates on Cash Money. Prior to the Universal deal, the group had already dropped their debut album, Get It How You Live, in 1997, which made enough noise in the underground despite not charting on the Billboard 200. After the Universal deal, the group would drop their second album, Guerrilla Warfare, in 1999. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 142,000 copies, went gold in 3 months, and went platinum in 4 months. One of the singles, I Need a Hot Girl, had charted on the Hot 100, reaching number 65. Next up, we got Eve, a legendary female MC from Philadelphia. Prior to becoming a rapper, Eve was briefly working as a stripper to get by, until fellow rapper Mace had convinced her to quit and find a new path. She would then start pursuing music. She was first a part of an all-female singing group called Dope Girl Posse. The group's manager had suggested that they switch it up and start rapping instead. The group would split up, but Eve was on board and would start going solo as a rapper. She had first signed to Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment label. At the time, she went by Eve of Destruction. Months after signing, she was dropped from the label. The following year, Eve would bounce back and sign a new deal with Rough Riders Entertainment. This would end up being the right situation for Eve, as it would jumpstart her career. She had first appeared on a compilation album called Ride or Die Volume 1, which was released in April 1999. This would help introduce her to the masses as it topped the charts and went platinum. One of the appearances she made on the album was a song called What You Want featuring Nokio. This would end up being her debut single. It reached number 29 on the Hot 100. This would also be added to the track list of her debut album, Let There Be Eve, Rough Riders' First Lady, which was released just a few months later in September. It topped the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 200,000 copies, making Eve the third female rapper to have a #1 album. It would then go platinum in just a month. The second single off the album, Got a Man, reached number 26 on the Hot 100. The third single, Love is Blind, reached number 34 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Outkast. In 1998, they would drop their critically acclaimed third album, Aquemini. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 227,000 copies, and within 10 months went double platinum, despite having lower charting singles. One of the singles, Rosa Parks, was the only song to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 55. Next up, we got Big Pun. Just want to say, rest in peace to this legend from the Bronx. Big Pun first started rapping as a teenager in the late 80s under the name Big Moondog. He would then temporarily change it to Big Punisher, before ultimately shortening it to Big Pun. He would meet fellow New York rapper Fat Joe in 1995 and appeared on his second album. After this, Big Pun would then sign a deal with Loud Records and get to work on his debut album. In April 1998, Big Pun would finally drop his classic debut album, Capital Punishment. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200, went gold in 2 months, and went platinum in 3 months. The lead single, I'm Not a Player, reached number 57 on the Hot 100. The second single, Still Not a Player, featuring Joe, reached number 24 on the Hot 100, becoming his highest charting single. Next up, we got Ja Rule. Despite being universally known as a 2000s artist, Ja Rule had already started making noise by the late 90s. Prior to this late stretch of the decade, Ja Rule had started rapping at the age of 18 in the mid-90s. Back then, he was a part of a three-man rap group called Cash Money Click. By this time, he had already met Irv Gotti, who would work closely with the group by producing a few songs for them. They would then sign a deal with TVT Records. The group was working on their debut album, but one of its members had gotten in trouble with the law and had to serve a multi-year prison sentence, which derailed the group, causing them to get dropped from the label. But Irv Gotti would be able to make a way for Ja Rule after this. Irv Gotti would get a job at Def Jam Records as the A&R president. He would then be granted an imprint label called Murder Inc. Records. Irv Gotti would then sign Ja Rule to Murder Inc., becoming the flagship artist for the label. In 1999, Ja Rule would drop his debut album, Vedi Vedi Vici. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 184,000 copies and went platinum in a month, solely just off one single, which was Holla Holla. The song had reached number 35 on the Hot 100. I also had the chance of seeing Ja Rule a couple times on stage. The first time I saw him was back in 2022, and the second time I saw him was the following year with Ashanti. And to wrap up the B-list, we got Jermaine Dupri, who at this time was already a successful music mogul and record executive, would also take the plunge as an artist during this time period. In 1998, he would drop his debut album, Life in 1472. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 162,000 copies and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, The Party Continues, featuring The Brat, reached number 29 on the Hot 100. The second single, Money Ain't a Thang, featuring Jay-Z, reached number 52 on the Hot 100. Now for the C-list. First up, we got DJ Clue. Prior to his music career, he was already working on a well-known radio station in New York called Hot 97. In the late 90s, he co-founded Desert Storm Records. The label would get a distribution deal with Def Jam. In 1998, DJ Clue would drop his debut album, The Professional. It debuted at number 26 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 140,000 copies and went gold in 2 months, due to all the big East Coast hip-hop names that made an appearance on the album. Next up, we got Mobb Deep. In 1999, they dropped their 4th album, Murder Music. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in 2 months, making it their first ever platinum-selling album at the time, despite having lesser performing singles. The lead single, Quiet Storm, was the most popular song off the album, which did well on urban radio and made a lot of noise in the streets. The song also came with a remix featuring Lil Kim, which also appeared on the movie soundtrack for In Too Deep. A quick fun fact, during a live performance at the 2019 Hip Hop Awards, Lil Kim did an iconic dance routine to this song, which ended up going viral on social media. The second single off the album, It's Mine, featuring Nas, was another urban hit that did well in the streets. Next up, we got Gangstar, an East Coast hip-hop duo that consists of DJ Premier and Guru. They had first arrived on the underground scene in the late 80s, and over the next few years would slowly gain more popularity with each album they released. By the late 90s, they would sign a new deal with New Tribe Records, which would help propel them to a bigger audience as they would start to reach their peak. In 1998, they would drop their 5th album, Moment of Truth. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 97,000 copies, making it their highest charting album as well as their first ever album to chart in the top 10. It would go gold in 2 months, which was a milestone for the duo as their first ever gold-selling album. The lead single, You Know My Steez, reached number 76 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Gangstar would drop a greatest hits album called Full Clip, A Decade of Gangstar, which was released as a double album. It debuted at number 33 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month after selling 250,000 copies in the US. The album also featured a couple new singles, which was Full Clip and Discipline featuring Total. Next up, we got Old Dirty Bastard. In 1999, he would drop his second album, hilariously titled Nigga Please. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 93,000 copies and went gold in 4 months. The only single off the album was Got Your Money featuring Khalees, which ended up being his biggest song ever as a solo artist, reaching number 33 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Funkmaster Flex, who's been well known for his signature bomb drop sound effect while breaking new songs. Since the early 90s, he began hosting Hot 97's first ever hip-hop show. He would eventually get a deal with Loud Records. Upon signing to the label, Funkmaster Flex would change the game by pioneering the commercial mixtape, where instead of studio albums, which were a more cohesive project with structured songs, he would put out mixtapes, which strictly contained nothing but freestyles integrated into a 60-minute hip-hop mix. Usually mixtapes would have been released for free, but in this case, they would be commercially released just like an actual album. By 1995, he had already dropped his first mixtape, and in the late 90s, he would flood the market. In 1997, he would drop his second mixtape called The Mixtape Volume 2. It debuted at number 19 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. In 1998, he would drop his third mixtape, The Mixtape Volume 3. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 123,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The lead single off the mixtape, Here We Go, featuring Khadija and the product GMB, was his first Hot 100 charted single, reaching number 72. In 1999, he would drop a collab album called The Tunnel with another DJ by the name of Big Cap. The album was released on Def Jam. It debuted at number 35 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months. Next on the C-list, we got Crazy Bone. After the release of Bone Thugs and Harmony's third album, the group would go on a brief hiatus with a few members dropping solo albums. In 1999, Crazy Bone would drop his solo debut album, Thug Mentality 1999. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 140,000 copies and went platinum in a month, with no hit singles. Next up, we got Busy Bone. Just like Crazy Bone, he too would also get the ball rolling on solo projects. In 1998, he dropped his solo debut album, Heaven's Movie. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 130,000 copies and went gold in a month, without any hit singles. Next up, we got Cannabis, who is a Jamaican-American MC. He was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and would later be situated in the Bronx, New York after relocating to the States with his family as a kid. He had graduated high school, went to college to study computer science, and worked for AT&T as a data analyst. But Cannabis had plans of becoming a rapper. He showcased his talent by appearing on DJ Clue's mixtapes with freestyle raps that gave him an underground following. He was then invited by LL Cool J to appear on his single called 4321 alongside Method Man, Redman, and DMX, who at the time was still an up-and-coming artist. This would give Cannabis a bit of mainstream exposure, and would also help him get a record deal with Universal. In 1998, Cannabis would drop his debut album, Can I Bus?, which is a play on his name. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month. The lead single, Second Round KO, reached number 28 on the Hot 100. Despite it being entirely just a diss song, pretty much making history as the first ever diss record to become a mainstream hit. The story behind this was that Cannabis made this song as a diss track towards LL Cool J, who had dissed him first on the 4321 track, creating a fun rap beef for the fans to enjoy. The beef would quickly die down after this. Next up, we got The Roots, an East Coast hip-hop band from Philly, anchored by lead MC, Black Thought, and drummer Questlove. The group had first formed in the late 80s. They had first got on by the mid-90s after signing a deal with DGC Records and had released 2 albums with the label. They would then sign a new deal with MCA Records, which would end up being a better situation. In 1999, they would drop their critically acclaimed 4th album, Things Fall Apart. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, making it their first ever top 10 charting album. It went gold in a month, making it their first ever commercially successful album. One of the singles, You Got Me, featuring Erykah Badu and Eve, reached number 39 on the Hot 100, becoming their highest charting single. On a personal note, this is the first ever Roots song that I remember hearing way back then. Next up, we got Cam'ron. Even before Dipset became a thing, Cam'ron was still able to get on within the late stretch of the 90s. How he got discovered was through his friend Mace, who had introduced him to Biggie Smalls. After rapping for him, Biggie was very impressed with what he heard and had introduced him to record executive Lance Unrivera, who would then sign into his entertainment label. In 1998, Cam'ron would drop his debut album, Confessions of Fire. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 107,000 copies and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Horse and Carriage, featuring Mace, reached number 41 on the Hot 100. Next on the C-list, we got Ice Cube. After the West Side Connection album, Ice Cube would get back to the solo albums. Reason why I have him on the C-list for this chapter was because he was just starting to decline during this time period. In 1998, he would drop his 5th album, War and Peace Volume 1, The War Disc, making it his first album in 5 years. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 180,000 copies and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Pushin' Weight, featuring Mr. Short Cop, reached number 26 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got The Lox, a 3-man group from Yonkers, New York that consists of Jadakiss, Styles P, and Sheek Louch. Upon their formation in the mid-90s, they had first went by The Bomb Squad. They would do demos and perform on stage locally. After developing an underground following, they would change their name to Warlocks. They would soon get in touch with Jaz-O, who was a popular MC in the underground. The group would do a demo with him. The demo was then acquired by Mary J. Blige, who then passed it on to Sean Puffy Combs. This would lead to the group getting signed to Bad Boy Records. Upon getting signed, they would change their name to The Lox, due to Puff's advice. In 1998, they would drop their debut album, Money, Power, and Respect. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 110,000 copies, went gold in a month, and went platinum over a year later. The lead single, If You Think I'm Jiggy, reached number 30 on the Hot 100. The second single, which shares the album title, featuring Lil' Kim and DMX, reached number 17 on the Hot 100, becoming their highest charting single. Next on the C-list, we got Lil Wayne, who had started rapping at a very young age, signed to Cash Money Records at the age of 11, after being discovered by Birdman. His career would start to take off in his teenage years, after joining the Hot Boys. The group had released 2 albums, with the first one making noise in the underground, and the second one going platinum, which helped build enough hype for Lil Wayne as a solo artist. In 1999, Lil Wayne would drop his highly anticipated debut album, The Block Is Hot. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 229,000 copies and quickly went platinum in just a month. Even without any major hit singles, the lead single of the same name featuring BG and Juvenile was the only song to chart on the Hot 100, reaching number 72. Next up, we got BG, who was also on Cash Money Records and was also a part of the Hot Boys. Just like Lil Wayne, he had also signed to the label at a young age. He had dropped his first album by the age of 16. The following year, he would drop 2 albums. In 1997, he had dropped his second album, It's All On You, Volume 1, in the month of July, which would make some noise in the underground. A few months later, he would drop his third album, It's All On You Volume 2, in the month of November, which was a sequel to the second album. This would be his first ever Billboard charting album, peaking at number 184 on the Billboard 200. After this, Cash Money Records would get that major label distribution deal with Universal in 1998. With this, BG would finally start to enjoy some mainstream success. In 1999, he would drop his fourth album, Chopper City in the Ghetto. It debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 140,000 copies. It went gold in 4 months and went platinum in 8 months, making it his best-selling album. The lead single, Bling Bling, featuring Big Timers and the rest of the Hot Boys, would be his most popular song ever, reaching number 36 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Goody Mob, a 4-man group from Atlanta that consists of Big Yip, Cujo, CeeLo Green, and Timo. They had already got on by the mid-90s once they signed to LaFace Records and dropped their gold-selling debut album. From there, the group's popularity would start to increase. In 1998, they would drop their second album, Still Standing. It debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month. The second single, Black Ice Sky High, featuring Outkast, ended up being the most popular song on the album, reaching number 50 on the Hot 100. In 1999, the group would drop their third album, World Party. It debuted at number 56 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 48 the following week, and went gold in a month, even with no hit singles. Next up, we got JT Money, one of the forgotten one-hit wonders from this decade. Coming straight out of Miami, Florida, he was first discovered in the early 90s as a teenager by Luke Skywalker of 2 Live Crew. At the time, JT Money was a part of a group called Poison Clan. The group would get signed to Luke Records. Over the course of 5 years, the group dropped a few albums that failed to make any noise, and had already left Luke Records by the time they dropped their last album. The group would then split up and JT Money would go solo, but this would end up being the best move for him. By the late 90s, he would sign a new deal with Priority Records. In February 1999, he dropped his first ever single called Who Dat, featuring Soleil. The song ended up being a massive hit, reaching number 5 on the Hot 100. A few months later, he would drop his solo debut album, Pimpin' on Wax, which peaked at number 28 on the Billboard 200. Next up, we got C Murder, who's one of Master P's brothers. He too would enjoy some commercial success in the late 90s while signed to No Limit. In 1998, he dropped his debut album, Life or Death. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 197,000 copies. It went gold in 3 months and went platinum over a year later without any hit singles. In 1999, C Murder would drop his second album, Bossellini. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 175,000 copies and went gold in a month, which also didn't have any hit singles. Next on the C list, we got A Tribe Called Quest. In 1998, they would drop their 5th album, The Love Movement. This album was marketed as their farewell album, as they had announced their split a month before the album's release. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, Find a Way, reached number 71 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Naughty by Nature. In 1999, they would drop their 5th album, 1999, Nature's Fury. It debuted at number 22 on the Billboard 200. Despite being their lowest charting single, it was still commercially successful as it went gold in 11 months. The third single, Jamboree, was released a couple months after the album. This song turned out to be a huge hit, reaching number 10 on the Hot 100, making it their highest charting single in 6 years. On a personal note, as a kid back then, this was the first ever Naughty by Nature song that I vividly remember hearing, therefore making this my most favorite song by them. Next on the C list, we got Warren G. After getting off to a blazing hot start in the mid-90s, he would start to slowly decline in the late 90s. In 1997, he would drop his second album, Take a Look Over Your Shoulder. It debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 95,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, I Shot the Sheriff, which was a cover version of Bob Marley's original song, reached number 20 on the Hot 100. The second single, Smokin' Me Out, featuring Ron Isley, reached number 35 on the Hot 100. In 1999, he would drop his third album, I Want It All. It debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month. The lead single of the same name, featuring Mac 10, reached number 23 on the Hot 100. This would be his last appearance on the chart. Next up, we got Mia X, a southern female rapper from New Orleans who was also a part of the No Limit roster. She had already dropped her first album in the mid-90s, but by the late 90s, she would enjoy some commercial success once the label took off. In 1997, she would drop her second album, Unladylike. It debuted at number 21 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months, without any hit singles. The following year, she would drop her third album, Mama Drama. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 99,000 copies, making it her highest charting album. The lead single, What You Wanna Do, featuring Charlie Wilson, reached number 41 on the Hot 100, making it her highest charting single. Next up, we got Lord Tariq and Peter Guns. who were an East Coast hip-hop duo from the Bronx. During the late 90s, they would make a bit of a splash with their hit single, Deja Vu, Uptown Baby, which was released in December 1997. The song reached number 9 on the Hot 100 the following year, but this would end up being their only charted single. This song was also added to their first and only album, Make It Rain, which was released on Columbia Records. The album was released in June 1998 and had debuted at number 38 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 40,000 copies, but failed to even reach gold status despite having a hit single. The duo would split up after this. Next up, we got Coolio. In 1997, he would drop his third album, My Soul. It debuted at number 43 on the Billboard 200, peaked at number 39 the following week, and went gold in 2 months. The lead single, See You When You Get There, featuring 40 Febs, reached number 12 on the Hot 100. The song was also very popular worldwide, charting within the top 10 in Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Next up, we got Mac 10, a West Coast hip-hop legend from Inglewood, California. By the mid-90s, he had already gone on after signing a deal with Priority Records. He had already dropped his gold-selling debut album in 1995, and was briefly a part of the rap supergroup West Side Connection. After that, he would continue his solo career in the late 90s. In 1997, he would drop his second album, Based on a True Story. It debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month. The lead single, Backyard Boogie, reached number 37 on the Hot 100. In 1998, he would drop his third album, The Recipe. It debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 2 months. The second single, Money's Just a Touch Away, featuring Gerald Levert, reached number 54 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Heavy D. By this time period, he would officially go solo after the group Heavy D and the Boys disbanded. In 1997, he would drop his first solo album, Waterbed Heb. It debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in 3 months. The lead single, Big Daddy, reached number 18 on the Hot 100. In 1999, he would drop his second solo album, simply titled Heavy. But this album didn't do as well, as it had only peaked at number 60 on the Billboard 200 and failed to even reach gold status, without any hit singles to show for it. Next on the C-list, we got KRS-One, who is also known as The Teacher, a legendary MC from Brooklyn, who has one of the most respectful hip-hop resumes in the game. His career goes back as far as the 80s, with his beef with MC Shan, and being a part of the group Boogie Down Productions, who were fairly popular in the late 80s. In the early 90s, KRS-One would go solo and slowly build up his catalog as a solo artist, with his popularity steadily increasing with each album. By the late 90s, he would reach his peak. In 1997, he would drop his third album, I Got Next. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 95,000 copies and went gold in 2 months, making it his best-selling album. One of the singles, Step Into a World, Rapture's Delight, became his biggest song internationally, reaching number 70 on the Hot 100, while it charted higher overseas in New Zealand, Scotland, and the UK. Next up, we got Timbaland and Magoo, a hip-hop duo from Virginia. Coinciding with being Missy Elliott's go-to producer at the start of her career, Timbaland would also broaden his musical range as a rapper as well, once he teamed up with Magoo to form a duo, with Timbaland also handling all of the production for their music. They had signed a 3-album deal with Black Ground Records. In 1997, they dropped their debut album, Welcome to Our World. It debuted at number 35 on the Billboard 200. It kept hovering in the top 100 for a few months and later peaked at number 33. It went gold in 3 months and went platinum in 7 months. The lead single, Up Jumps the Boogie, featuring Aaliyah and Missy Elliott, would instantly become their biggest song, reaching number 12 on the Hot 100. The final single, Clock Strikes, featuring Mad Skillz, reached number 37 on the Hot 100. Next up, we got Nori, who we now know as one of the co-hosts of Drink Champs. Way before his podcasting career, Nori made a name for himself in the late 90s as one of the young and upcoming hip-hop stars coming out of the East Coast. He was first a part of a duo called Capone and Noriega. The duo had already dropped their debut album in 1997 after signing a deal with Penalty Records. Outside of the duo, Nori would also branch off as a solo artist, which boosted his career. In 1998, he would drop his self-titled solo debut album. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 165,000 copies and went gold in 2 months. The lead single of the same name didn't chart on the Hot 100, but did well enough both in the streets and on urban radio. The second single, Super Thug, would be his mainstream breakthrough, reaching number 36 on the Hot 100. In 1999, Nori would quickly drop his second album, Melvin Flint, The Hustler. It debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 125,000 copies and went gold in 2 months, despite having lesser performing singles. Next up, we got Fat Joe. During the late 90s, Fat Joe's career would start to head in an upward trajectory after becoming a label owner for the first time, starting up Terror Squad Entertainment and getting a major label distribution deal with Atlantic Records. In 1997, he would drop his third album, Don Cartagena. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 106,000 copies and went gold in 2 months, without any hit singles. The lead single of the same name featuring Puff, and the second single, Betcha Man Can't Triss, featuring Big Pun, Triple Seis, and Cuban Links, were both street market singles that did well on urban radio. And to wrap up the C-list, we got Rakim, otherwise known as the God MC, who has been often mentioned as a hip-hop pioneer and one of the greatest to ever do it. He had first started his career back in the 80s as one half of the duo Eric B and Rakim. They had dropped their final album in 1992. Years later, Rakim would rebrand himself as a solo artist and would sign a new deal with Universal. Even in the late 90s, Rakim was still able to stick around and stay relevant, without having to keep up with what was new at the time. In 1997, he would drop his solo debut album, The 18th Letter. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and went gold in a month, without any hit singles. Both the first and second single, Guess Who's Back and Stay a While, didn't chart in the US, but were able to chart overseas in Netherlands and the UK. In 1999, Rakim would drop his second solo album, The Master. This album wouldn't do as well, as it had only debuted in number 72 on the Billboard 200 and failed to even reach gold status. Now for the D-list. For the late 90s D-list, we got Trick Daddy, Capadonna, Fiend, Mac, Exhibit, Mos Def, Cypress Hill, Memphis Bleak, Beanie Man, Bounty Killer, Razzcast, Born Americans, Q-Tip, Do or Die, EPMD, RZA, Jizza, Slick Rick, MC8, Too Short, Lost Boys, 8 Ball and MJG, Dragon, Raekwon, Pharoah Munch, Praz, Lil Cease, J.O. Felony, Rampage, Corrupt, M.O.P., Queen Pen, Salt and Pepper, Common, Public Enemy, Nate Dogg, Gravediggers, DJ Quick, Soleil, 3-6 Mafia, Young Bleed, Soulja Slim, Cain and Abel, Onyx, Ghetto Boys, KP and MVY, The Alcoholics, B-Rock and the Biz, E40, Twista, and Camp Lo. And now we're gonna end it off with some other mentions, the Tupac posthumous albums. Even after the release of the Makaveli album, Tupac's name was still kept alive in the late 90s, thanks to some producers and his mother, Afena Shakur. She would start up Amaru Entertainment as an imprint label under Interscope and would get executive producer credits for each album going forward. In 1997, they would release Tupac's 6th album, Are You Still Down? Remember Me, which was his second posthumous release. It was also released as a double album. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 549,000 copies and went quadruple platinum in a month. The lead single, I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, reached number 67 on the Hot 100. The second single, Do For Love, reached number 21 on the Hot 100. In 1998, the label would release a double-disc greatest hits album. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 268,000 copies. It stayed in the top 10 for a while and later peaked at number 3. Within a month, it went 6 times platinum. The album had featured 2 brand new singles, one of them being Changes, which did very well internationally, reaching number 32 on the Hot 100 and was a top 10, top 20 hit in Canada, Australia, Europe, and New Zealand. In 1999, they would drop a collab album called Still I Rise with Outlawz. It debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 408,000 copies, peaked at number 6 the following week, and went platinum in 2 months. The lead single, Baby Don't Cry, Keep Your Head Up Too, reached number 72 on the Hot 100. Well, anyways, that concludes this deep dive for 90s hip-hop. You're the best for making it this far. And for the following decade, a deep dive into 2000s hip-hop is out now. You can check that out if you haven't already. More deep dive videos and more content coming after this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace, y'all, and I'm out.
DJ 91.